First alert Doppler radar. I know nobody wants to hear this, but we still have a few isolated showers working their way across the Highway 6 corridor this morning from Clarksdale to Marks this morning. Out towards Batesville, again, maybe a few showers up around Crenshaw as well, back over as you're heading into the western portions of Panola County, again, just west of Marks, and heading out towards Jonestown, Clarksdale this morning. So again, just something to, that you may notice along your morning travels. You see also in Yalobusha County near Coffeyville on the north leg of Grenada Lake this morning. Got a couple of downpours as well. Here's a live look outside from our High 5 camera from the University of Memphis, which is pretty toasty here already this morning. We're up to 73 now, and of course a lot of sunshine beaming down. 73 in Hayti as well as in Dyersburg. Alamo at 72, 70 in Bolivar as well as Corinth. 73 in Tunica and also in Clarksdale. This is the big issue, though, this morning. It's going to be zones of fog. And, of course, some folks seeing a fair amount of issues from the standpoint of rain yesterday. I would not be surprised if we got some fog up here through Lauderdale County into Tipton County as well from all the rain that we saw yesterday. It's this corridor right in through here, eastern areas of the city, east of the city of Memphis, where we've got the bigger issues of fog. Bolivar down to less than a mile. Same in Corinth, same in Selmer as well. So again, I'd say if you're traveling from Tupelo up to Jackson this morning, that whole stretch is going to be very foggy. And then along Highway 64 coming from Savannah to Selmer to Bolivar, going to be quite heavy as well when it comes down to the standpoint of fog. Dyersburg down to a mile visibility, and again, I expect that Highway 51 corridor also to be a bit more dense on the way of fog. Now, any fog that we do have should clear out by about 8:30, 9 o'clock this morning, and then we transition into the heat and humidity. To the low 90s we go. Feels like temperatures will be even higher here today as a ridge of high pressure starts to build over the southeastern United States. The heat dome, if you will. Today, it's centered over Texarkana, Texas, Arkansas here today, and then it anchors itself over the Tennessee Valley by the time we head towards your Saturday. And of course, that's going to bring us some big heat tomorrow, and not to mention less of a chance of a shower or thunderstorm to cool you off. I think today we at least still have an opportunity for a shower or thunderstorm to come back into the fold here. Let's look at our feels like forecast, because remember, we've seen a fair amount of rainfall. Some spots in Tipton County, 7+ inches of rainfall in a couple of hours' time. That's what caused all of the flooding issues up there yesterday. You know, we saw videos coming from Covington of Highway 51 completely covered in water, and for a couple of hours like that, because it was a training batch of storms that came over the course of about 4 and 5 hours that dumped copious amounts of rainfall from southern Mississippi County into Tipton County into northern Fayette County. Even here in the city of Memphis, while we picked up about 1.5 inches of rain here at Midtown, you know, some spots picked up more than that, and of course some spots less than that, just the motion of this line of storms that was moving through the area. And of course that moisture is still out there. It hasn't evaporated just yet. So guess what? It's going to be translated into the feels like temperature later on today. This afternoon, feels like temperatures running from about 100 to about 105 in most spots, but there are going to be a couple spots here across the delta of Mississippi from Tunica down towards Clarksdale over towards Mariana and Helena, West Helena, where feels like temperatures could very well be around 105 to 110. And guess what? We do it all over again for your Saturday, and I think we expand the heat ridge even more so. Feels like temperatures in Marks, Clarksdale, Tunica, Helena, West Helena, all in that category of at least heat advisory, but knocking on the back doorstep of excessive heat warning. And then we've got heat advisory territory expected across much of West Tennessee, northeastern Arkansas, northwest Tennessee, Mississippi. So I wouldn't be surprised if the vast majority of the Action News 5 coverage area ends up underneath a heat advisory, in the very least going into your Sunday and probably Saturday and probably into your Sunday as well. Don't bank on a lot of rain here the next couple of days, but could there be a stray shower or thunderstorm? Yeah, it's a possibility. Most of the rain here today will likely stay to the south of the Action News 5 coverage area. We might, obviously, we're seeing a few isolated downpours this morning across Coahoma, Quitman, Panola counties. I don't think that that's going to amount to very much, but again, something that may catch your attention along your morning travels. Notice tomorrow, with that ridge of high pressure basically centered on top of us, it's pretty paltry on those chances. Maybe about a 10% chance at best going into your Saturday. Sunday, same idea, about a 10% chance of a cooling downpour, and it's not really cooling. Will knock the numbers back if you catch one, but the steam is going to be there no matter how you shake it. So you go into this afternoon, again, a couple of downpours here and there, about a 20% opportunity of seeing that here this evening. Then things will fall apart. We do the whole process over again. Starting off tomorrow morning, a couple of patches of fog. Sunshine wins out the day, and again, a stray downpour in a few spots. Many of you staying dry during the course of the afternoon. Lather, rinse, repeat. Do it all over again on Sunday. Maybe a couple of degrees warmer. Into the mid-90s we go heading into your Sunday. So again, the heat's going to be the big story here the next couple of days across the Mid-South as we get ready for not just that, but it's the humidity adding into it as well. Feels like temperatures by Saturday could be as high as 107 here in the city of Memphis, maybe as high as 110 on Sunday. And notice, again, we're going to be buffeting up against not just heat advisory, but excessive heat warning criteria as we head into the weekend and the start of next week, as highs hang around between about 93 and 96 degrees on a daily basis here. We want you to stay weather aware anytime and everywhere. You can do that on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And when you look at the extended forecast, again, it's going to be the heat and humidity all the way through the next 7 days. Today, again, the final hours of spring, the last hours of spring. Summer begins 9:41 p.m. this evening, and then the first full day of summer, my goodness, 94 degrees will be the warmest day so far this year here in the Mid-South, and likely several periods of time here between about 93 and 96 degrees on a daily basis. It's like we hit a switch, Andrew, and we're right into summer. A daily chance of a spotty downpour. Now understand, the spotty downpours, this is the time of the year where you just don't know where exactly it's going to pop up. It could be over your backyard, your neighbor's backyard, your cousin's backyard, and the vast majority of the area ends up being dry. So, you know, it's a randomly placed, randomly timed type of thing. You just got to keep an eye to the sky, and once things start to bubble up, be prepared for it. The other thing, again, with the heat and humidity combination and this stretch of heat that we're talking about here, that's going to last for a couple of days here, you need to take those warm weather precautions. Of course, wear light, loose-fitting clothing, drink plenty of hydrating fluids. Hydrating fluids. I know Memphis Brewfest is going on this weekend over at Shelby Farms. Hydrating fluids, alternate, friends. And then we go into, talking about checking on folks who don't have adequate access to cooling relief, the homeless, the elderly, potentially, those situations. And of course, Stephanie Douglas is out there this morning talking about some of those respite things that you could do to keep you and your family safe in these hot days that, unfortunately, we are in for, at least for this week coming up, and more than likely all the way through September or October. You know the drill here in the Mid-South.
Question for you, Patrick, with regards to the humidity levels. Are they all going to be as high as it is right now?
It gets worse. It's honestly,
oh, really?
Because you're going to have a constant flow of moisture off the Gulf. I mean, as we go through the next few days, and I always say this, you look at the overnight low temperatures, and that gives you an indicator of how muggy the air mass will be. This morning, we've got lows in the lower 70s. That's not terrible. That's actually on par for where we should be for this time of the year. But tonight, we may not drop below 78. So that gives you an indication of where the humidity levels will likely be as we go through the coming days.
All right, meteorologist Patrick Ellis starting us off on a Friday with those steamy temperatures. First summer weekend of the year. Patrick, thank you.
No problem.
All right, so now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we're seeing outside, because that's certainly one of the big stories is the forecast, the weather. Of course, we're going to be having weather updates throughout the morning here on Action News 5's digital desk. As you can see, looks great out there, but it's going to be a hot and steamy one. 73 degrees already, 10 minutes after 7 o'clock. We'll keep an eye on the forecast. We'll report it back to you throughout the morning here on Action News 5's digital desk. Okay, one of the top stories that we are following right now has to deal with the 5 former police officers convicted in federal court in the death of Tyree Nichols and what is going to happen with their sentencing. We got Action News 5's Stephanie Douglas with more on that.
All 5 former Memphis police officers will appear in federal court for a status conference this morning. This will allow the new presiding judge, Chief Judge Cheryl Littman, to set a new sentencing date. Now, the delay comes after the federal judge handling the case recused himself last week with no explanation, which has resulted in also delaying their state sentencing. Attorney Blake Ballin, who represents Desmond Mills, describes the delay as frustrating. Meanwhile, attorney John Keith Perry, representing Tadarius Bean, says that Judge Norris's recusal is acting in coordination with the law. Today's status conference, attorney Ballin says, is a chance to catch Chief Littman up with the details of the case.
In my experience with her, she will set a schedule of some sort, and so right now, yes, the answer is things are indefinite, but I think in the next week or two, we will have a better idea of when this will all come to a head.
In October, Tadarius Bean and Justin Smith were convicted of obstruction of justice for witness tampering, a charge that carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. Demetrius Haley was also found guilty on those charges and additional lesser charges. Mills and Martin accepted plea deals. Today's hearing begins at 10 a.m. Reporting, I'm Stephanie Douglas, Action News 5.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We always love checking in with our friends at Memphis Botanic Garden. A busy time for them. They got the Live at the Garden concert series all ready to go this weekend. I'm joined now by Carly Zamora, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Adult Education Coordinator for us. Carly, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. We're so happy to talk with y'all this morning. We're starting to see a little bit of a drizzle roll in, but that's the great thing about the garden is even when it rains, the scenery is still beautiful. If anything, it's just making the plants look even better. So it's a good time out here.
Oh, it always is, and I love seeing it, and I love it when you guys talk to us, and you're out and about in the 96 acres. It's looking great. So we know we got the big concert coming up this weekend with Third Eye Blind. What else is going on? Because I know you guys have events throughout the summer and really throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're so excited about having our first concert of the season this Saturday with Third Eye Blind. I know I'll be there. I'm super thrilled about it. Some other things that we have coming up is actually a brand new series that we're introducing. It is called our Sip and Stroll series. So the first Thursday of the month, we are actually taking guests on an in-depth look at each of our gardens. So the way that we kind of laid this out is each individual garden is going to have its own opportunity to shine and to really be able to talk about what went into that garden, some different concepts and things to talk about. Additionally, what we're excited about is we're bringing in community partners that kind of fit the theme of the garden. So our first one coming up is actually on July 3rd. The fun thing that we get to talk about is our urban home garden. So when you think about home gardening, a lot of people think about raised beds and fruits and vegetables, but we have a lot of really cool concepts. We also have beekeeping, we have chicken coops, we have a type of growing fruit trees called espalier. All of these crazy concepts that maybe you wouldn't think about and more, we're going to discuss in a very casual, laid back tour. That's my kind of goal with all of our adult education programming, is to make it fun, casual, very approachable to anyone that comes in.
So I'm curious because this has piqued my interest here. First ever Sip and Stroll series. You have one. It looks like you have one in July, August, September, October, November. Tell me once again. So is it like a home improvement, like the July one's focused on home improvement stuff, or is it something more than that?
Yeah, so I think that the cool concept behind the Sip and Stroll tours that we'll be doing is we want to give information that you can apply to your life. So if that's something you're interested in, is how do I grow a tomato plant? That's stuff that we'll be covering. But if you're a seasoned gardener and you've done this and you said, I've been out in my garden for 20 plus years, you can come to the Sip and Stroll series and still learn something new and fun and cool. And the great part about this is because we're rotating between each garden, we have different ideas and different kind of concepts to cover. So maybe you're not super interested in, let's say, home gardening. You don't really want to do the vegetable gardens. Guess what? We have another series, which I'm super excited about. Our October one is all about potions and poisons. So that'll be like a really fun Halloween one that we do. That's all going to talk about like the history of medicinal use of plants and also how it was used in history to poison people. So we have the mixture of the really fun with the really useful information all combined.
I love it. I love it. That's cool. Very cool, very creative. And so each month there's going to be a different theme, and this is going for, is it on Saturdays? Is it the first, another part of the week? It's give us a rundown of when it is and when we can see the theme for each of those days.
Absolutely. So they are going to be on the first Thursday of the month. So check your calendar, whatever that may be. Like I said, our first one's July 3rd. Each theme we will have up on our calendar. You can visit our Things to Do calendar under membg.org to see all of the dates. But just as a rundown, our first theme will be our urban home garden. Our second will be our herb garden. Our third will be our My Big Backyard, our children's area, where all the kids will be back to school and all the adults will get to come in and see what's going on there. Our fourth will be our special Halloween edition. And then our fifth will be our woodlands, where we actually get to go run through the woods and see what we have that going on out there.
Very cool. I love it. That sounds fantastic. What made you guys come up with this idea? It's very creative, and I know that a lot of people will enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of talking about the name in and of itself, Sip and Stroll, this is actually a 21 plus event. The reason that we have it 21 plus is because with the purchase of your ticket, you get 2 specialty cocktails, which we will theme around the garden. So we're really excited about that. One of the vendors that we'll be working with, or one of the community partners for our first one, is actually Delta Dirt, where they take sweet potatoes to make it into their spirits. So we have this thought of how do we combine these community partners, have them out in the garden, have them out talking, and then I actually will be leading the tours. So I personally take a lot of interest in each of our individual areas and all the things we have to offer. And when all these ideas were floating around, we just thought, let's just combine them and make them a nice, casual, fun atmosphere for everyone. It's also low quantity numbers for these tours. So you won't have these huge groups where you can't talk to the tour guide or talk to the partners. All of these tours are very limited. So make sure you get your tickets now to have that opportunity to come see them.
One more thing, Carly. You mentioned that you're a part of putting it together and running the various events. Are there certain experts? So, for example, you have your garden, your garden one, that theme. Is there going to be someone that runs a seasonal garden that can really kind of give you those tips? How's that going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to say that I'm there for kind of the fun, casual conversations. I know a lot about our garden, but I definitely don't know more than our horticulturists. So we will have a horticulturist on site to be able to talk about this different areas, since they're the ones that actually put the plants in the ground and maintain them throughout the year. So we'll have experts in that fashion. Another partner that we'll have is Everbloom Pharmacy. Everbloom Pharmacy specializes in their own gardens themselves, and we actually donate a lot of our food profit that we kind of have, or the extra groceries that we have from our urban home garden, to Everbloom Pharmacy. So they'll be talking about community gardens, how to get involved. Maybe you don't have a garden in your backyard, but you want to start and have this kind of built up. We will have so many different ranges of people to talk to that, like I said, if you're casual or if you're already an expert on your own, this will be a really fun experience for everyone.
Fantastic. I love it. Carly Zamora joining us on the digital desk about Memphis Botanic Garden and their new series, Sip and Stroll. First one, July 3rd, a season garden showcase, I guess you could call it, where you guys will be really kind of focused in and dialed in to really kind of enhance people who have been gardening for, 10, 20 years or more. Anything else we can touch on, Carly, before we let you go?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a series that we plan to continue throughout the new year. So please make sure that you keep an eye on our website. That's membg.org to see all of the future dates. We really hope to hit each individual part of our garden. So if you don't see one of the gardens you would be interested in, stay tuned till 2026 when we'll have a lot more running throughout the entire year.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, we appreciate it, Carly Zamora. As always, when you and others join us on the digital desk from Memphis Botanic Garden, always really enjoying that gem in Memphis and the Mid-South. Thank you so very much.
Of course. Y'all have a great morning.
Okay. You do the same as well. Thank you so much. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you this. This is a brand new area of Mumford. This is an amphitheater. It's part of an amazing Veterans Plaza in downtown Mumford. It was funded through a grant several years ago, and they are having their first concert this Sunday, first performance at the amphitheater in the brand new Veterans Plaza in Mumford, Tennessee. It's something that has been a long time coming, certainly, for Mumford. It's certainly its residents and some of the city leaders there. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by the mayor of Mumford, Dwayne Cole, joining me now. So, Mayor Cole, thanks for joining us on the digital desk. Tell me what this means to have this Veterans Plaza and this amphitheater, this concert happening this weekend, this Sunday, in the city of Mumford. Good morning.
Good morning. It is a terrific time, a culmination of a lot of effort from a lot of people, and we are very pleased to present our first concert this weekend, Sunday night at 5:30, featuring several music groups from 3 churches in the general area.
And we are showing some pictures here, some video of this facility here in downtown Mumford. This is the Veterans Plaza, the amphitheater. It's all brand new. Tell me a little bit about the backstory of all this for our viewers. I mean, this is a long time coming, is it not?
Yes, sir. From the beginning, about 2018, we had an opportunity to acquire the property that this is this site, and from First Citizens National Bank. They're a great corporate partner with us, and this is funded through local Parks and Recreation grant. Thankful for that opportunity. And it took about 7 years, and my joke is from conception to completion, it takes about 7 years to get a project completed. So, but it was not only funded by government but also by local government, and First Citizens National Bank helped us to acquire the property.
Fantastic. Okay, so tell me more about what this means for the residents of Mumford, as there been much discussion about this, and you got the first concert happening this Sunday, a number of different religious groups, right? Tell me more about that concert too.
Yes, sir. I believe that the general buzz of the downtown development of the plaza is very positive. We are all looking forward to this Sunday night. It was my desire to have the first concert to be a night of praise and worship. Mumford was originally named Mount Zion, and so from the very beginning, Mount Zion Methodist Church was the center of community life. So I just wanted to reemphasize. Obviously, we want to recognize our veterans, and also the great emphasis that the church had in community life from the very beginning.
So if people want to attend this Sunday, do they need to register? Do they just show up? How does it all work?
Just show up. We'll be ready to receive everyone. It's going to be a great day. We've got some food trucks lined up because the weather is going to be beautiful, as you referenced here in your previous segment. We're looking forward to a great night, and praise and worship is center of town.
Excellent. Anything else you want to mention, perhaps, Mayor, future projects or future events that's going to be happening at Veterans Plaza or the amphitheater?
Yes, sir. On July the 3rd, we will be having what we call Celebrate Independence, and the pre-fireworks concert will be performed by a band called Almost Famous. I think they're locally very, very famous and have a great following. We look forward to that being one of the greatest events that we've had in a long time. We are going to be having concerts in the fall and activities throughout the year. Throughout June and July, we have farmers market, artisans market every Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon. So we look forward to this being a focal point, a meeting point, a gathering point for all of our citizens and the surrounding area.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, Mayor, we really appreciate your time here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Dwayne Cole joining us. Congratulations on getting Veterans Plaza and this brand new amphitheater, that whole new space up and ready for Mumford residents and other residents all across the Mid-South. We appreciate you coming on and letting us know, and have a great time this weekend.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There's always a lot of chatter about cryptocurrency, new coins, perhaps some investments out there. On the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I also want to talk about some scams. There are some scams out there, and we want to talk about them so you don't get ripped off. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Allie Tager. She is with the nonprofit National Cryptocurrency Association to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency and some scams out there. Allie, where do we begin? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Perfect timing. It's Internet Safety Month, and the National Cryptocurrency Association is out here helping everyday Americans learn how to navigate the crypto landscape safely and responsibly. Unfortunately, we know that there are scammers and fraudsters in every market, and protecting yourself really comes down to practicing smart online habits, and security should always be top of mind. So excited to share more with you about some common scams and safety habits.
Yeah, so Allie, I understand there was a new study out there that talks specifically about this issue. Give me the highlights from it, please.
Yeah, we just did the largest ever study of crypto holders in America. We met with 10,000 crypto holders who come from all walks of life. They come from all genders, generations, regions across the country, industries, and income brackets. And more than 3/4 of them are actually seeing really positive results from using cryptocurrency. They are seeing financial gains, they're seeing a sense of achievement, learning and development opportunities, and a sense of fun and excitement. Very, very few of them have had negative experiences, and even fewer of those have been scam or fraud related. But unfortunately, we know that scams are pervasive in every corner of the internet. We see phishing scams where people try to get you to click on random links in social media posts, texts, or emails. We see pump and dump schemes where groups band together to artificially hype up prices of coins and then leave others holding the bag. And then we see fraudsters impersonate friends, loved ones, trusted institutions to try and get you to send them cryptocurrency. So it's really important that you're being wary of all of this, that you are not sharing your information with anyone you don't know, and that you're keeping your private crypto keys like your PIN and password super safe and secure.
Yeah, that's just a good practice for any business, any kind of investment, no matter if it's cryptocurrency or not, where there's constantly scammers trying to get into your personal information online, what have you. So let's talk about some of those top crypto scams that you and your organization is seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately named pig butchering, which is just as horrible as it sounds. That's when someone pretends to build a relationship with you over time before they start to pressure you to send them sometimes smaller increments and then larger increments of cryptocurrency. We see this with online dating all the time. There's also giveaway scams where people will say, if you send me just a small amount of crypto, I will send you even more back. And so it's really important that you are wary of any urgency or pressure tactics. If someone's trying to get you to send them crypto very quickly, it has a limited time offer. It's really important that you're not clicking on random links or trusting anyone that you don't know. You don't want to take financial advice from a stranger. You certainly don't want to send them your money. And when it comes to crypto, transactions are final. They can't be reversed. And so, general rule of thumb, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Oh, yeah, that is always a general good rule of thumb. Where can we get some more information about scams to watch for, good health practices on the internet, that sort of thing?
Of course, the National Cryptocurrency Association is a one-stop shop to learn more about what crypto is, how it works, and how to stay safe. So encourage everyone to go to nca.org to learn more.
Okay, Allie Tager with the National Cryptocurrency Association. Appreciate the time on the digital desk. Valuable information for so many of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, our next guest is someone that's had great success in the music industry. She is an American folk singer, songwriter. She is someone who is very accomplished. In fact, her songs have been covered by various people you are very familiar with. Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, Jimmy Buffett, just to name a few there. She's also a Grammy-nominated musician here for her 2018 album, Rifles and Rosary Beads, co-written by U.S. veterans and their families. I'm happy to be joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Mary Gauthier. Joining us, and I understand, Mary, you're going to be coming to Memphis later this month. Good morning.
Yes, hi, good morning. Yes, indeed. I'm looking at the June 28th date as an opportunity to be back in Memphis, and thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, no, it's good to meet you and get to know you a little bit about you and your accomplishments. You know, being a folk singer and a songwriter, you have to have inspiration, I would think, and at least to be a successful one. You certainly are that. Where does that inspiration come from, Mary?
Oh gosh, I wish I could answer that. You know, I think artists pull from life, and what we do in folk music is try to create stories that make people have an emotional response because they relate to it. You know, in another day and time, I would have been considered a country songwriter in the 70s, but today I'm more aligned with the folk category of music genre. But I'm a story-based songwriter, and the famous successful artists that record my songs resonate with the stories that I tell in my songs.
That's fantastic. Tell me about the biggest joys about going to various venues across the country and performing. What are some of the joys, and what are some of the things that you still hope to accomplish? Because you've already accomplished a lot.
Yeah, you know, I play all over the world. We are citizens of the world at this point. We travel 150, 160 shows a year. We travel constantly. I got home at 2 a.m. last night. I meet people everywhere, and that's super interesting to have connections with people in cities all over the world, and to see them when I get to town and share a meal or sit in the green room or meet new folks at the merchandise table at the end of the show. That's a joyful thing to get connected with people in different cities all over the place. And you know, as far as what my goals are at this point, I just want to keep writing songs that people care about, songs that people say matter to them.
You know, for songs covered by well-known acts out there, I mean, Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, Jimmy Buffett, just to name a few. There was a number of other people on that list, but certainly our audience will know them. Why do you think your songs resonate with such a large audience, especially those that are, you know, artists out there that are so accomplished?
Well, I think it's because they emotionally connect with an audience. I think people can get inside the song and see themselves, and they relate to it. And you know, the artists at that level that are playing huge arenas, selling millions and millions of records, hundreds of millions of streams on the platforms, they want to connect with their audience, and they're always looking for songs that go into people's hearts and stay there. And I think that's my strength, is that's the kind of writer that I am. I'm not a hit songwriter. I'm a songwriter that writes songs that tells the human story, the story of what it is to be alive today, and what it feels like, and the struggles and the victories and the experience of love and losing love. And I'm strong in the story department, and I keep saying that because that's really what I do. I'm a storyteller through song.
You know, there's so much music and music history here in Memphis. Have you been here before? What's it like playing here?
Many, many times. I've played Memphis probably 8 or 9 times at this point. I've hit all the music sites multiple times. Memphis is a city rich in music history and rich in history, and it's just a incredible place to do what I do and to bring it to the people at the ground level. That's where I work.
So you have a concert coming up later this month, June 28th, at the Memphis Alano Club. Tell me who inspires you when it comes to music and when it comes to being a singer-songwriter, and what can concert goers or fans expect when you perform later this month?
I get my inspiration from so many different sources, books and films and other songwriters, having conversations with people. What I am is a troubadour, and a troubadour is a simple thing. We go town to town to town and tell stories and connect with people. It's not a big, huge arena type show. It's kind of the opposite. It's sitting around in a room where people are quiet and listening to the song stories. It's a bottle of water, a spotlight, and a bar stool, a guitar, and a person who has stories to tell. That's what I do, and that's what I will do in Memphis at the Alano Club.
It sounds like a very intimate setting, certainly,
Yes.
with your concerts. Anything else you'd like to share with our audience? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, Mary.
Yes. Well, storytelling is still alive. It's a beautiful and connective art form. I hope some of the listeners would come join us and experience that in person. Most people go to the big, huge shows where there's thousands and thousands of people. And what I'm doing is different than that. It's almost like I'm connecting personally with everyone that's in the room. It'll be a smaller experience in terms of size, but a bigger experience, I think, in terms of emotional impact. And so if you're into that, come on down to the Alano Club on June 28th.
Okay, Mary Gauthier joining us on the Digital Desk. Thank you, and congratulations on a successful career and what you're doing. And we appreciate you coming to Memphis, and we're looking forward to your concert June 28th at the Memphis Alano Club. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Have a beautiful day.
All right, we're going to switch gears here and talk a little bit about the state of Arkansas. You know, more and more people are realizing, I certainly realize this here in Memphis in the Mid-South, that where you live affects how you live. You know, you could be living in the most beautiful place in the world, but if you don't feel good about it and you don't really kind of mesh with where you are, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to be the most beautiful place in the world. But if you embrace it and you enjoy it, no matter where you are, you're going to enjoy where you live. And it feels like mind over matter a little bit. On the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined now, happy to be joined by actress Dawn Olivieri. And anyone who has watched Yellowstone, she is no stranger to you, but she has a great little story here because she relocated from California to Arkansas. She found not only a slower pace, but a stronger purpose. So, Dawn, good morning to you. Tell me more about your move and how you are reflecting on that move this morning.
Well, good morning to you. Thank you for having me. I love that you say slower pace. I brought all the action with me. I thought I did come for for nature, right? That's what I showed up in seeking of, but I brought the whole world with me. And Arkansas does something for the soul out here, and I came to be as close to as much wildness as I could stomach. And what it ended up doing for me was it created Moon Mountain Sanctuary and Rescue, which is my wild Mustang rescue here in Arkansas. But on a soul level, I was able to put the mirror down, right? In LA, I call it the land of mirrors. But when you come out here and you're in direct conversation with the natural world, there's no place for the mirror. It becomes cumbersome, and it's a false sense of who you are. So you start meeting people from the inside, and it actually also affected my acting, which I think was a really interesting side effect. It made me a stronger actress because I was no longer living on the surface of things. I'm going to assume you're still there. So maybe we just can't hear you right now.
Can you not hear me, Dawn?
Oh, now. Yeah, well,
But you can
I'll
hear
keep
me now?
talking. I don't mind. I was trying to give you
No.
some space. Yeah.
So what I was saying was, like, there's no question that nature has a healing effect. Whether you're out in nature for a minute, a weekend, what have you, it heals all of us. And so it's so great to hear your story. Tell me where you live in Arkansas and what that healing process has been like for you.
Well, the Moon Mountain is situated in Mena, Arkansas. It's about as far out as you can get in Arkansas. It's sort of 3 hours from any major airport, which creates a very pristine environment out here, very conducive to bringing 100 wild horses to your house. But we live on the edge of a national forest, and that was one of my prerequisites. Was I wanted land on a national forest. And what's very unique about Mena is it is almost a peninsula surrounded by national forests. And that's a very unique organization of a city is what I thought. And what I know to be true with how that works is that you end up attracting a lot of outdoor enthusiasts. And little did I know, Arkansas had a lot going on in that department. You could even argue it's up there for the recreational capital of the world, just by nature of how it is constructed here. You have hiking, you have mountain biking, tubing, kayaking, horseback riding, side-by-side off-roading. I mean, the list just continues. And I couldn't believe I didn't know anything about Arkansas before. It was never on my map of places to visit. And when I moved here, I thought, well, this is a story that needs to be told. So I take initiative a lot of times. If you don't know much about me, that's definitely something I got in spades. And I said, I went to Arkansas, and I said, can I tell your story from my perspective? Because that's as authentic as I could get. And I made a docuseries, and I call it My Natural State, because the slogan is the natural state for Arkansas. So I wanted to show the beauty of Arkansas, but at the same time show the spiritual journey of a person learning to connect with a deeper level of themselves through that travel, through the natural wonders of Arkansas. And that's what I did, and that's what this story is about.
Well, fantastic, Dawn. I love hearing it. We are in Memphis, so we're right there on the border of Arkansas. Been to the Ozarks plenty of times. It's gorgeous, and certainly some other areas, Mountain Home, Mountain Brook. It's just a gorgeous state. There's no question about it. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We actually broadcast into parts of Arkansas, North Mississippi, and West Tennessee.
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there that have this in their heart, that they're trying to be in a big city so they can make enough money to move and have the life they want, get a few acres and have animals and have their little homestead. My advice is to just go now. Don't let fear keep you stuck, because I did it. I didn't have the partner that I thought I would have. I didn't have the money that I thought I would have, but I still did it. And the thing is when you choose what's coming from your heart, what it's saying to you, it all comes with you. It's like the reward for listening to that little voice. And if you're still not sure, Arkansas has this great website. It's arkansas.com/relocation. And you can actually they have this relocation calculator, and you can calculate your cost of living comparison from where you live currently to where you could move in Arkansas. And if that doesn't seal the deal, then go and look at all the pictures of Arkansas, or come to my Instagram, Dawn Olivieri. If you don't know how to spell my name, just type in Yellowstone into a Google search. It'll pop up. And come and see what we're doing here at Moon Mountain Sanctuary and Rescue and all the horses that we're helping. Come volunteer, and then we can kind of guide you to the thousands of waterfalls you can visit, where you can go find a diamond, and then you can just fund your entire move. It's like, it's that easy. Or you could just go tubing and contemplate your existence. Arkansas literally has it all.
Before we let you go, anything that you want to share with some Yellowstone fans out there? I know that we have plenty of them. What was the most satisfying aspect of being a part of this series?
Well, you know, Wes Bentley is actually from Arkansas. Isn't that funny? He was born in Arkansas. So we had a lot of Arkansas conversations to talk together in between, you know, conniving and our takedown of the Yellowstone dynasty. But what a great show. What an anomaly. What an incredible beacon for people. I think even that show did some of this, right? It's like when you watch that world, you want that world for yourself. People started wearing cowboy hats and cowboy boots. Now they're like, maybe we want a horse, right? Good. Come and get one from Moon Mountain, and then I'll teach you how to be a real cowboy. I dare you.
All right, Dawn Olivieri on the Digital Desk. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And enjoy yourself in nature.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Friday. The final couple of hours of the spring season as summer begins officially, 9:41 in the evening. And of course, the first weekend of summer looking to be quite hot. High temperatures today in the low 90s, right on par for where we should be for this time of the year, with the southwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Can't rule it out that we can see an isolated downpour in one or two spots. Big ridge of high pressure developing out of northern Mexico, heading in our direction, and that will be bringing us the heat and cranking it up, not just here locally, but regionally, and even in a much larger sense across the eastern United States, as temperatures will be climbing into the 90s and even some spots closing in on 100 degrees here in the eastern U.S. High pressure, again, in the upper levels of the atmosphere creates sinking air. That sinking air compresses. It warms up. So that's going to bring us lower rain chances for one as we go through the next couple of days. Notice not very much in the way of opportunities outside of maybe one or two pockets of downpours as we go through today. Maybe a little better chance on Monday. But again, the chances are going to be pretty paltry here the next couple of days that you can find yourself underneath a cooling downpour. And of course, we still have tons of moisture sitting in the atmosphere. And of course, that is leading up to the heat and humidity combination. So it feels like temperatures here today will range between the upper 90s in our easternmost communities to lower 100s, feeling closer to 105 to 110 potentially across portions of the Delta. And guess what? It gets worse before it gets any better. Actually, the heat begins to build as that ridge builds on top of us heading into to your Saturday and Sunday. So feels like temperatures on Saturday likely closer to 105, and lather, rinse, repeat. We do it all over again heading into your Sunday. And this is going to be, like I said, not just locally, it's a regional thing. 94 Saturday here in the city of Memphis, up to 96 on Sunday, 94 Monday. Lower to middle 90s in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 90s out towards Dallas and Fort Worth, mid 90s also for Kansas City, 97 degrees by Monday in Louisville, Kentucky, mid 90s in Chicago. I mean, this is going to be some stark heat, and some spots here across portions of the upper plains and the Intermountain West even. Some spots here could be 25 degrees above average for this time of the year. And you notice, again, even above average temperatures across the mid-Atlantic states. Some spots here through the Delmarva Peninsula back up towards New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. Some of these spots also running a good bit above average by about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, we are about to head into the summer season, as we've been mentioning, as we start off really tonight, but again tomorrow, the first full day of summer. The average high 91 degrees. We're right at the crux of the top end of our heat. But of course, that's by the averages. Of course, June in the low 90s, lower 90s on July and August. But of course, we know that it can be much hotter than that. And depending on how the summer goes will determine how September goes. Sometimes we've had some very hot Septembers here across the Mid-South, and that comes by way of drought if we end up with a drought situation. But it seems like we have not had a drought situation unfolding over the last couple of months here in the Mid-South. And of course, the overnight low temperature is much warmer. July, typically the warmest part of the entire year. And when you factor in that plus the humidity levels, my goodness, I mean, we're talking about some hot temperatures here the next couple of days. There might be a couple of areas here as we head towards mid and latter portions of next week that we can see a little bit of relief from the humidity. But when I say a little bit, I mean it. Maybe a degree or two on the dew point numbers. Of course, check the forecast anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Limit your time outdoors. Reschedule outdoor work if you can. Stay hydrated. Wear light, loose-fitting clothing. And checking in on some vulnerable people. Again, elderly, homeless. Make sure your children, when they're outside playing around, make sure that they have some time to come inside, cool off, get some water, stay hydrated, and your pets as well. The extended forecast is going to be quite toasty. This is an extended period of time here between now and the mid and latter portion of next week that we're likely to be in the mid-90s. Today being one of the coolest days until probably next Friday or Saturday. High temperatures in the lower 90s here today. A couple of hit and miss showers and storms by the afternoon hours. I think we're pretty dry outside of maybe a pop-up downpour in one or two spots here on your Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the mid-90s. Maybe a slightly better chance on Monday. Low to mid-90s there. Mid-90s continue as that ridge of high pressure expands once again overhead Tuesday, Wednesday to the mid-90s, overnights in the middle and upper 70s. As we get towards the back end of the week, the ridge starts to buckle a bit, and as it starts to buckle, it starts to open up the flow even more so from the Gulf, and that's going to allow for a little better chance for some rain and storms by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 30 and 40% rain chances to return to the area. But at any rate, if you get caught underneath any downpours, you see almost a daily chance of a shower or thunderstorm. You get caught underneath those randomly placed, randomly timed downpours. The steam is going to replace the heat, though again, it's still going to be stifling out there. Again, when you start to see overnight low temperatures in the middle and upper 70s, that gives you a good indication of how muggy the atmosphere is going to be. It could rain at any time, but again, underneath the ridge of high pressure, usually it keeps the weather pretty settled, so we won't see very much in the way of rainfall. One thing that we may see over the coming days with lighter winds, that area of high pressure on top of us, stagnant air is going to become a problem. So ozone, code oranges may be an issue as we head into the longer term here in the coming days, as again, the air mass becomes a bit more stagnant as we head through the end of the weekend and the start of next week.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Now is the best time, better than ever, to really kind of focus in on your health. And, you know, a lot of times, guys, myself included, we wait until the very last minute to worry about our health. You know, if we're not dying, then everything's fine, right? We can tough it out no matter what happens. Well, that's just not the way to do it these days. And not only that, but you know, just a few years ago, there was this focus on dad bods, and, you know, that was all the rage. Well, today, it's more about fitness. It's more about building strength, longevity, performance, not only for you to be healthy for yourself, but also for your family, to be the patriarch of your family for many, many years to come. So where do we begin? A lot of times, that kind of thing can be intimidating for us. If we don't work out regularly, we want to get healthy, but we don't know where to start. Where do we begin? Well, joining me now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by our fitness trainer at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville, Tyler Timms. He is with us now to kind of help us really think about not only physical health, but also a mental health and how to have optimal health this month and beyond, the summer season, the fall season, and beyond. Ty, thanks so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. So all those guys out there, where should they begin when it comes to that optimal health? Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on, Andrew. You know, this month is Men's Health Month, and it is truly important for men, you know, for everybody, and this goes well beyond this month. But the basic thing you want to do is just get started. It is sometimes the most difficult thing to just put that foot forward and just get going. We have all kinds of new exercises in the club all the time. I work at Lifetime here. I'm with the training staff. And, you know, one thing we really do is start where people are. We always want to make sure that, you know, if you're just getting into it, you're not trying to kill yourself. One of the best things to do is start with body weight. We've got some really neat, I'm going to bring some, you know, some neat body weight exercises in today, something easy to start with, kind of taking away the excuses. I don't have the equipment, I can't get to the gym, you know, whatever you need to, whatever excuse you have, when you have body weight, gravity, and a little bit of space.
So let's dive in a little bit to that, Ty. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are going to come up with a myriad of excuses so they don't have to work out. Well, I can't do this, I can't do that. But you can always exercise each and every day, no matter what, right? Let's start it off.
All right. Well, and it's really important. You know, when we're talking about men, it's one of those things. Metabolism, your hormones, everything gets shifted around, just like in women and men. Things change through the years. What we're dealing with is a battle back, and that's what I get my mindset going with. Always trying to battle back every day, doing something a little bit better, doing something a little bit more, making a little better choice. It's really about the choices that you get into. What I'm going to show you is about 4 or 5 different moves. Body weight oriented. You only need a little bit of space. I have a mat right here. You can use a couple different pieces of equipment. You really don't need it. If you manipulate gravity, there's a ton of stuff that you can do. There's a lot of professional athletes that really primarily just work body weight, and it's pretty spectacular some of the results that you can get. We're going to go through some push-up variations, a little bit of squat, some lunge, plank, bridge. All these things can be used with body weights. Let's get right into it. First thing I want to do is a couple different squat variations. And you've got your basic squat stance. So feet just outside shoulder width. And really the thing with the squat, you want to feel like you're balanced front to back, side to side, and you can change this up. Every exercise can be progressive or regressive. That means you can make it harder, you can make it a little bit easier. We're going to start with something right in the middle, and I'm going to show you how you can do this. So just basic squat form, you're right here. I'm going to turn to the side so you can kind of see what my hips are doing. I'm throwing my hips back. I'm getting my back and my shoulders and my head in a really good position. So this is a typical, really good body weight squat. You can get down, depending on your range of motion, how low you can go. And that low squat actually is a really healthy thing to do, making sure that you back and hips. And I'll get in the right type of position. You do about 30 to 50 of those, and you'll be toast. Start at 10. Start where you are. Get 5. Get 10. Build your way up. Body weight can really build up to a higher number. A lot of times I'm in the 15 to 30 range as far as reps. Make that exercise a little bit tougher. We're going to turn it into a single leg squat. You can use either a seat or you can just go straight body weight and go all the way down into what we call a twisted squat. Come all the way back out of it. Good challenge for those that are a little bit more high level. You got your double, you got your single. All right, we're going to go right into a push-up. So the plank form, either elevated or if you're down on the ground and you don't have something to elevate on, you can get down low. We're going to come back up to the top. This is a good regression. So when you're working with gravity, anything on incline is going to make it a little easier. If my feet and my head were swapped, now you're talking about something that's a little more difficult. Basic push up. Now, what I like to do with a lot of my clients, push up to what I call a T-twist. You get a lot of stability in the shoulder, and you're going to alternate that with both sides. Push up, rotate, push up, rotate. So those are excellent push exercises and a squat exercise for the body weight. Now, kind of pushing on into that next level, we're going to get down on the mat and we're going to do a couple little core exercises. So right here, you've got, make sure I'm in the frame, you've got dead bug, you've got bridge, you've got long sit-ups, and you can add a rotation in here as well. Now I'm going to start breaking a sweat. And once you get through all those, the plank, the squat, and the push-up, if you want to add in another leg exercise, the lunge is also extremely effective. One thing I do with my lunges is I turn them into multi-planar. So coming into a lunge, back out. You can see I'm really dipping down into it. I'm letting the back work. I'm letting the hips work. If I go out to the side, get down nice and deep. I can come up. You can go left and right. So those are multi-planar. You go in the frontal plane, you go in the sagittal plane. So that all gives you, I'm a little bit out of breath. That gives you a little bit of idea.
I liked exactly what you were doing. I think you moved so much, Ty, that I think your microphone may have dropped a little bit. But listen, I love all this stuff because this is something that people can do anywhere, whether they're traveling for business in a hotel room or at home or somewhere else where they might not necessarily be able to get to a gym. This is something that they can do, and so diet, of course, always is good with exercise. A lot of people want to do things to boost their metabolism. Where do people get in, make mistakes and kind of get in that rut of maybe doing too much too soon or not doing enough or just losing the aspects and the drive to come to the gym or continue these exercises?
Right. It's can you hear me okay?
It's a little bit echoey. When you were doing some of your exercises, it sounded like the mic had slipped somewhere. But we can hear you. It's just not as optimal.
Right there. Okay. Sorry about that. So what people get involved with is a lot of read and imitate. Internet, friends, and it's not very specific to them. So one thing we do here at Lifetime is we really go through a pretty detailed, what we call a discovery. It lets us know where you are, put a plan together. So the first thing for everybody is set a goal. Set a goal, set a short-term goal, set a long-term goal. That goal has to have a plan around it. It needs, some thought to it. What that is can be a lot of different things. That's where the individual customization comes in. you really want to educate. So we're big on entertaining, educating. We're friendly and inviting. That's part of our mission statement. We really want to educate and make sure people know where they're starting, where they need to start. So there's a lot of information out there, but basically you just want to start below. I have this saying, I said, underperform regularly. It's one of those things, consistency will get you to a really good place, but that's a foundation. And then you want to go a little bit farther. Men want to build muscle beyond just body weight exercises. You may want to go into a loading phase. So different phases are really important. Start with a lot of balance, stability, flexibility, just general conditioning. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to get to the end. And that's just a good piece of advice everywhere, from business to my parents gave that advice to me. It's go through the steps. I always think about farmers. Boy, they have to go through all these steps, and it starts with that very first one to get to that harvest. And that's your body. That's the same thing.
Yeah, no question about it, Ty. And I just want to review for folks that you gave us 5 fundamental body weight workout movements: push-ups, squats, the lunge, plank, and a gluten bridge. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go here? Because these are great tips for people out there just trying to focusing on getting back to being more physically fit and as a result, mentally fit.
Right. Well, there's a lot of help out there. We have a club. We're here right in Collierville. We're just off Houston Lake. It's a great place to come in, to get away, shut the life out, outside, and really do something good for yourself. But if you're not able to get to our physical location, there are a lot of places around. Use something convenient. Use something that's close to you. We have an app that is free for everyone. It has tons of information, education, workouts that are on there, and all you have to do is download it. There is no cost to it. We would love for you to be a member here, but that is something that our company has made sure that everybody in the world can get hold of. And there is a workout. There are tons of great workouts. And just like I took you through, there are body weight workouts. There are loaded workouts. You can get little pieces of equipment and go through these programs. I would highly suggest that. And the other piece is just the nutrition side of it. Going through your normal diet, just changing a few things. Supplement when necessary. Drink a lot of water. Add a little more protein. And then focus on recovery and sleep. Those are things that all men should do, but everybody can use that advice as well.
All right, there he is, Tyler Timms, fitness trainer at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville. Appreciate the tips, Tyler. Great stuff, and always looking for better ways for optimal health. We appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. It's just
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We know this summer is going to be hot. It's going to be steamy. It's going to be warm in the Mid-South. No question about it. That's one of the guarantees we can certainly put our money on. And it's so important to know what to do in order to protect you and your family from those rays of the sun. Joining me now on the Action News 5 digital desk, I am joined by Marquita Lester. She is a nurse practitioner with Regional One Hospital to talk more about the do's and don'ts of sunscreen because, as we all know, Marquita, sometimes people can get a little carried away with it. Maybe they don't put it on enough. Maybe they put on too much. Maybe it's the wrong SPF. What are some good practices that people can just start out with when it comes to wearing sunscreen this summer? Good morning.
Morning. You want to choose a sunscreen that has a broad spectrum that will protect you against UV and UVB rays. You want to make sure that you're getting a sunscreen SPF, which is your sun protection factor, that needs to be at least 30% or higher. The level of protection blocks a significant amount of harmful UV radiation. So you want to make sure that you look for that. And also, if you're going to be sweating or swimming, it will be wise to get one that's water resistant as well.
Yeah, no question. So, a lot of people think about, oh, it's a cloudy day. I don't need to wear sunscreen. And that's a big no-no because we know the sun's rays can go right through those clouds, right?
Absolutely. UVA rays pass through the clouds and they still can reach your skin and cause damage.
How often should we apply sunscreen when it comes to going in and out of the water, whether it's a pool, whether we're at the beach, that sort of thing?
Well, you want to start out with your sunscreen about 15 to 20 minutes before sun exposure. And then you want to reapply it every 2 hours or more often if you're swimming or sweating.
Okay, so we have SPF 30 or above. We apply it 15 minutes before we go out to the sun, and then about every 90 minutes or so we reapply. It's so important that we get vitamin D too. Give me the fine line between the two because a lot of people want the vitamin D. It's good for our health, but at the same time, we don't want to get burned.
Yeah, it is a fine line between vitamin D and sunburn. Your skin, the sunscreen only blocks about 97% of the UVA and UVB rays. You still will get some vitamin D, and if it still is not enough, you can take a vitamin D supplement as well.
What's the main point you want people to remember when they go out this summer? The do's and don'ts, about sunscreen. I mean, I know that a lot of people make mistakes, but what's the main point you want people to know?
Well, you don't want to put sunscreen on, if you're using the spray sunscreens, do not put that on children's face, a child's face. You want to use the cream or sunscreen stick on their face. But the key takeaway is simple. Sunscreen isn't just for sunny days or days at the beach. It's your daily defense against skin cancer and premature aging. And you should make that a part of your routine every single day to prevent, complications later on down the road.
Where do people make the most mistakes, Marquita?
With sunscreen?
Yes.
Not applying it at all. Or not reapplying every 2 hours. Or not applying enough.
Right.
Or not applying enough. You want to apply at least an ounce of sunscreen with each application.
Okay, Marquita Lester joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk, talking about the do's and don'ts of sunscreen. Very important. Some friendly reminders out there as we hit the water, whether it's a lake, a pool, beach, that sort of thing this summer. Marquita, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, if you're like me, it was a Sunday shocker for Grizz Nation. Out of the blue, it seemed like, out of nowhere, the Memphis Grizzlies trade Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic, and boy, do they get a wealth of first-round picks. They also get 2 veteran players. And right now, people are thinking, this might actually be a good trade for the Memphis Grizzlies organization. Let's bring in someone who is in the know when it comes to that and when it comes to all things Memphis Grizzlies. I'm joined now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by the radio voice of the Memphis Grizzlies, Eric Hasseltine, joining us in the offseason. Eric, thank you very much for joining us. And
of course.
How was it when you found out about this trade, and what were some of your initial reactions? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise. You know, we knew there were potential moves in the offseason to be made, just weren't quite sure which direction they were going to go. And obviously that question was answered with a resounding, a big move on Sunday. We weren't sure if there was going to be multiple small moves, but they were going to rearrange the roster a little bit and try to add some depth at the wing, maybe some depth at the point guard position, some depth in the front court after the injury to Zach Edey. I think people just felt like, you know, there's 2 ways to go about it right now in the NBA. You either have 3 big time stars and then kind of sprinkle around them, or maybe 2 stars and, you know, kind of max money guys and then sprinkle around them. And Desmond Bane was making a great salary. He earned it. He worked his way to that number. When fully healthy, this is a guy scoring 23, 24 points a game. As I told people, when the ball leaves his hands, you think it's going in. But that contract can limit moves you can make. So I think what the Grizzlies did was got a lot of flexibility in this deal. It's sad to see Des go. I couldn't be more impressed with a guy that was picked 30th overall to come in the way he did, learn the way he did as a rookie. They make a move with Grayson Allen to open up minutes for him. He continues to work hard. A couple unfortunate injuries, an oblique strain earlier this year. Previous year, he steps on a basketball as it's rolling by, as he's trying to go for it and rolls his ankle. That's just a freak injury that shouldn't happen, but he missed time. And so now people are wondering, well, is it a durability thing? It's not with that young man, and he's got a very bright future. And Orlando seemed like they wanted to condense their roster. They wanted to go with the route of having 3 guys they can really count on and then building around those 3 when you talk about their roster. So the Grizzlies getting 4 first-round picks, a veteran in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which will help the locker room because he's won a championship, and a veteran in Cole Anthony who can add depth at the point guard position. Those 4 first-round picks and the right to swap a pick, which means whoever has the higher pick, the Grizzlies will get that between themselves and the Magic, really gives you a lot of wiggle room if you want to make more deals. The addition of Cole Anthony means you have 2 guys in that backup point spot where Scottie Pippen and Cole Anthony are very similar types of players. They can really score the basketball. They're about 6'1", 6'2". Anthony has been known for his athleticism. He's the son of a former NBA player that actually played with the Grizzlies in Vancouver, and Greg Anthony, and he really was a nice complementary piece to that Magic roster. He's been through playoff series, so you get some veteran experience there. Scottie worked his way into getting more minutes, I think, during the postseason, and we'll see which direction they decide to go. Will they keep both, or will they maybe package another one with another player and make another move? That's certainly in play. So a bit surprising when it happened because we're still a couple of weeks from the draft, and usually you see these moves the week of the draft, but the Grizzlies were very proactive. They got a deal they felt like they couldn't pass up on and made the trade, and I think they got a bounty in return for a very good player, and that's what you want when you make a move like this. Multiple picks and a veteran player that can help you.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's a great way to describe it, a bounty. In return for Desmond Bane. And, of course, we all love Desmond Bane. Such a workhorse, and probably going down as one of the best draft picks ever for the organization. I mean, taken 30th and just did so much for the organization. You know, you mentioned the 4 first-round picks, the 2 veteran players, including one that has won a championship with Denver. I believe he won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble in 2020 as well.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, and then another aspect is dumping the nearly $200 million contract. I mean, that is huge. So, so where do you think? I mean, we got the draft coming up, shortly, right? I mean, where
Right.
are we going with this? Because we have the 16th pick now.
Yeah, you got back into the first round of this year's draft as well. So maybe they saw a college player they also liked, and this was just too good a deal to pass up. You mentioned the remaining years for Desmond Bane's contract, and that is a harder contract to move individually, even if somebody wants a great shooter, a perimeter scorer, and Des can score at all three levels. And just to clarify, the Grizzlies actually didn't draft Desmond Bane, but a pick made for them. Boston took Des, and I always love going to Boston and hearing guys, how do we let this guy go with our 30th pick? Well, that deal was in the works before the draft even happened. That pick was made with the trade already ready to be made. So the Celtics actually selected Desmond, but the Grizzlies were after him, and when they saw they could get him at 30 or that he was going to be available, they made that trade with the Celtics. So it's just easier to move guys with contracts that are under that $25 million range. I mean, that just sounds like a ridiculous thing to say because the money is so astronomical. But when you start getting into the 30, 35, $40 million range, and these guys have earned it, they're star type players. They're guys that have the potential to make an all-star game. There was a point where Desmond Bane, without an injury, probably makes an all-star game before these last couple of seasons and could have been an all-star, has that type of potential and that type of talent. So it's not easy to move these guys because their contracts are so high. Now you break it up into two guys who have a reputation around the league for what they do. Cole Anthony, super athletic, has participated in a dunk contest at his size, which is remarkable, can score the basketball, comes from a lineage of pro players with his father playing in the league. And now you go to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And that's a great point, Andrew. I'd forgotten that he was in that Lakers bubble team championship roster. So he's got not one, but two-time world champion, went to Denver, made a big difference there with the Nuggets. A lot of people really credit his experience for helping that team take huge strides forward with Jokic and Murray, but having that veteran presence and saying, this is how we need to do things, alongside with letting the leaders lead, but saying, hey, when we're in these championship battles, this is how we need to pull ourselves through. That kind of experience in a locker room is invaluable. So if you want to keep these two guys, they really enhance your locker room. But they do have market value. They have a lot of market value. They're going to be sought after if this doesn't go the way you want it to go, or if you feel like they don't really fit the long-term plan, which is possible too. This, as I said, gives you a ton of flexibility to either try it out and see, or even beforehand, be more proactive and maybe get somebody else you have your eyes on if there's another trade to be made. We'll see. The front office gets paid to do their job. People always want to ask me, well, what do you know what they're saying in the front office? And my answer is always the same. Nothing, because they don't pay me to be in the front office. They pay me to see the game, call the game. However, I do kind of have some ideas of how this goes, having seen this play out many times in years past with other teams.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because everyone has the feeling that they're not done yet. Although I saw a report that said, "Hey, Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. off limits for the organization." I saw that earlier today. Sure. But Eric and a lot of people think this is a pipe dream. But hear me out for a second.
Okay.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay, the guy has played in a small market in Milwaukee. He's from a small country in Europe and Greece. Why not take those 4 first-round draft picks, trade it to Milwaukee, we get Giannis, and then we're all set. We're ready to go. Let's play ball.
Well, you need to add some salary into that too. So that would be an interesting move if you condensed a couple of contracts, maybe a sign and trade, maybe package one of the guys you just acquired. That's certainly within the realm of possibilities. The question is, what does Giannis want to do? Where does he want to go? The thing that I'd be keeping an eye on is what happens in New York, because they have assets they could move, and they are actively looking at both guys. And apparently, according to all the rumor mills, that the names keep popping up. I don't want to start throwing names out there or putting scenarios together because I don't think that's fair to the organizations. And honestly, I don't know how the NBA feels about that. So let's just say a team like New York might get in the mix for a superstar player of that magnitude, maybe a former MVP or another former MVP that's name gets tossed around. You can do the math there, Andrew. And that will have a lot to determine what the availability is. Like I said, these deals tend to happen the week of the draft because of draft picks, because of opportunities to get young players. And if you're going to trade a star of that magnitude, you're not looking to remain in that playoff picture necessarily next year. You are looking to reset the roster, reset your organization, maybe take a year or two of lumps and build forward with a group that you can build continuity with and thus for build success. So I think keeping an eye on what happens in the Knicks coaching situation, keeping an eye on what happens with that other superstar who has also won an MVP, whose name gets tossed around in trade concerns. It's really a situation where a lot's going to determine that. And I don't think we'll hear a lot more. I don't think that the Grizzlies won't be proactive in seeking out what, the Bucks might want in a trade for a star of that magnitude. Right now, though, he's a Milwaukee Buck. And a lot of people seem to think that that might be a different story by the time we tip off the season. And I don't ever have a problem with the team going for it, but you got to make sure the fit is right. The player is happy, because the one thing teams will tend to do is get in the mix for a trade, bring a guy in, he doesn't want to be there. And if he doesn't want to be there, it can really be a disaster. And I've seen it before. In fact, it happened to this organization years ago. They traded for a player named Otis Thorpe. He flat out said he did not want to be there. He did not want to go to Vancouver at the time. They made the trade anyway. And by 2 to 3 weeks later, they realized they had made a mistake and they shipped him off to Sacramento. The problem was, in trading for Otis Thorpe at the time with Detroit, they gave them a future first-round pick, which ended up being the number 2 pick behind LeBron James. Now, the Pistons blew that pick and took Darko Milicic, where they could have taken Carmelo Anthony. But the Grizzlies would have had that first-round pick. And Detroit kept hearing about this kid, and every time the Grizzlies tried to get it back, and they said, "No, well, we're going to hang on to this one just to see." So you got to be careful about bringing in guys that don't want to be in that organization. And it's not necessarily anything personal. It may be personal to them. They want to be in a different city. They want to be closer to family. They don't jive with the guys on this roster. I don't ever hold that against a player. I think if a player can pick a place where he's comfortable, I'm okay with that.
Final question, Eric, then we'll let you go. What are you going to be watching over the next 2 weeks? You mentioned you're going to be watching the New York coaching situation. Anything else that we should be watching ourselves?
Well, I mean, obviously we're going to watch the finals and see what happens there. It's, game 5 tonight, I should say. I'm sorry. And what happens in that game can really start to shape things, believe it or not, because look, here we were talking about the Pacers up 2-1. If they win game 4, they're up 3-1 and, really put the Thunder's backs against the wall. The Thunder have built their roster in a certain way. They are 2 steps away from a title. The Pacers play a certain way with a certain type of player. They're 2 steps away from a title. This is a copycat league. Whoever wins this NBA championship, even with the other team not winning, teams are going to start to look to rebuild their roster with, a lot of the similar characteristics of these 2 teams, because you mimic success. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch the Knicks coaching situation, watch the other situations with big name players and where they may be rumored to be going. Some of those players have said, hey, these are my ideal destinations. Does a team that's already in the playoff picture from this year make a big move and try to enhance by sending multiple players for a big time star? Does that set the market and force other teams to follow suit? Or does everybody kind of stay pat and see where we get to with the draft? I think people jokingly saying that Dallas might trade the number 1 pick are just doing that to take a shot at the Mavericks after the Luka Doncic trade. If they were to move that number 1 pick, Andrew, it would be a whirlwind of deals and everybody would, lose their minds. I don't see that happening. So aside from all that, I'm going to watch my son play baseball. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride and get ready for Summer League and look forward to seeing, if they do keep the 16th pick, a couple of new faces with the draft picks that they have, a couple of guys that were on the roster last year getting some work, seeing the development of Coach Iasalo out there coaching the team and getting his system into play and seeing what it really looks like with some time to prepare for it. And then just get ready for training camp to start in October, my friend. Lots to go before there, though. Lots of football coming. Memphis Tigers, all the SEC, the NFL. It's a great time of year, and it's been fun.
Yeah, no question about it. Eric Hasseltine joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk to weigh in and break down this Grizzlies Magic trade. We appreciate your time. Go have fun this summer with your son. Appreciate it, Eric.
Always appreciate it, Andrew. You have fun with your family as well. Look forward to seeing you next time, my friend.
Absolutely, Eric. Thank you. Eric. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have you ever heard of Barth syndrome? BARTH. It is a rare inherited metabolic disorder. It primarily affects boys and men. Only a few hundred people in the world have this syndrome, but certainly people do here in Memphis and the Mid-South. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Shelley Bowen. She is part of the Barth Syndrome Foundation, and she is here to talk a little bit more about this syndrome, this disorder that affects just a few hundred people worldwide, but I know for a fact that there are some people here in the Mid-South that have it. So, Shelley, thanks so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. Tell me more about this disorder, this syndrome, and its origins. Good morning.
Good morning. Barth syndrome is an ultra rare condition. It affects fewer than 150 individuals in the United States. It predominantly affects males.
I was preparing myself.
It's 1 in 1 million.
My family.
Is 1 in 1 million males. So it's very rare. We know of fewer than 500 worldwide. It's often fatal early in life, but it is a progressive and debilitating condition. And it causes heart failure, cardiomyopathy. Many of the individuals who have Barth syndrome require a heart transplant, which is yet another condition in addition to Barth syndrome. But debilitating fatigue is something that we see. So it is progressive. People don't just outgrow it. They get worse over time.
Yeah,
and my two daughters,
I'm trying to
ages 5 and 1,
mess a little bit
to lose
with our,
Jalen before he even had a
audio
real chance
levels
at
here,
life.
but you sent me
Jalen was
this,
transported to
and
Children's Nebraska.
this was
They told me
a
things were not
video
looking good for my.
Some of the different things of people mentioning that they have Barth syndrome. What is the biggest? What is the biggest obstacle that people have to overcome when it comes to that syndrome?
Well, again, the debilitating fatigue is an issue that we see. Heart failure, infections that can be fatal. I think what we are seeing, our challenge right now is that there is no targeted therapy for Barth syndrome, which is why I really appreciate you bringing me on to the show, because the challenge is that there is a drug that is before the FDA right now for review. And after a very long and protracted journey with the FDA to try to get this across the threshold, the sponsor, Stealth Biotherapeutics, received a denial or a complete response letter, which basically outlined that the application that had been received by the FDA was not being approved. And in this video that I shared with you are families who are asking during an advisory committee, asking for the FDA to please consider approving the drug. The advisory committee made a recommendation in a 10-6 vote that the drug be approved. And 97% of the time, the FDA, especially when there's not a therapy for a condition approved, do go along with what the advisory committee recommends. we were actually shocked when we found out that the company received a complete response letter, which happened to be on the same day that we received a letter, or Barr Syndrome Foundation received a letter or response letter from a petition that we had filed 17 months earlier. And we had requested that a new drug application be filed by the FDA because previously it had not been. The company received a refusal to file letter and then we asked for a fair and equitable review of Elameprotide using the advisory committee process. So 2 of those things had passed. So we were hopeful that we were going to get a favorable review, and then found out on the very same day that we received that letter where our petition had been granted that the company received a denial from the FDA. So right now we are in full throttle push trying to get the leadership to hear us, because we don't believe that this is in keeping with Commissioner McCary and Secretary Kennedy's efforts to fast track rare and ultra rare drug approval processes. And I say approval, but the review processes. So we need more drugs for rare conditions. We don't need fewer.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot there, Shelley, that you mentioned. Let me bring it back down to just a local level for a moment. And if you could just talk a little bit about maybe what kind of test is out there for someone to test if they have this, and then what is the treatment afterwards if someone perhaps does have this?
Well, typically what will happen is that the child will, if it shows up early in life, the child will be in heart failure, and a genetic test hopefully would be run, so the doctor would be able to determine the cause of the heart failure or cardiomyopathy in the child. We also see the child may come down with a septic infection or have neutropenia as a symptom of it. Neutropenia is a leading cause of death, or sepsis is a leading cause of death, because neutropenia is a condition where they have sometimes 0 neutrophils, which the body depends on to fight infection. So even a paper cut can become lethal. So those 2 things are pretty much what you'll see earlier in life. But they can the doctor can order a genetic test and determine if it's Barr syndrome. Unfortunately, right now, the only therapies that are available are therapies that you would commonly use for heart failure or to treat cardiomyopathy or neutropenia, but not a targeted therapy for Barr syndrome, which is why this drug is so important.
Okay, and so if you can, for our viewers who are just perhaps many of them learning about Barr syndrome, what would you tell them in terms of, if there's, help, if there's ways to test for it? You just mentioned it's kind of a rare kind of treatment as well, and what they can do to just really support this idea of getting a drug out to people who affected the most.
Well, I would say if the child has, if somebody or the parents should ask for genetic testing if the child has cardiomyopathy to find out the cause. I think that, people don't often think that having a diagnosis can make a difference, but it can make a difference, because it's kind of like a firefighter, right? If a firefighter doesn't know what a fire is not a fire. They're not going to throw water on an oil fire or a fire that's being caused by a chemical. They need to know what they're up against in order to extinguish the fire. Well, it's the same thing with any kind of condition, and particularly with Barr. It's a very complicated condition, and people are very lonely when you have fewer than 150 people in the United States and 500 worldwide. You need a village and you need support. So we have a very strong group of families. We conduct research with the Barr Syndrome Foundation, We have conferences that we bring families together with educational programs because it's nice to just fit in. And this is what we have been told over and over again with our families. And so I would ask the doctor for genetic testing and certainly reach out to the Barth Syndrome Foundation if the child is diagnosed with a disorder. I'll pick up the phone, I promise, and I will be there for the families through thick and thin, whatever they need.
Shelley Bowen with the Barth Syndrome Foundation joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk. That website, barthsyndromefoundation.org. Is that right?
That's it. It's a long one.
Yeah, it is. Well, listen, thank you for coming on the digital desk and really kind of explaining what this syndrome is, what this disorder is, how rare it is, and how there is help for people who may have it and are living with this difficult syndrome. We appreciate your time on the digital desk. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to tell you about a free Summer Bridge Academy for Memphis middle and high school students. This is going to be a 3-week-long program where kids, middle and high school kids, can brush up and boost their academic skills, their confidence. Again, this is for rising 8th, 9th, and 10th graders in the city of Memphis. I want to bring in someone that is a part of the organization doing this. I'm joined now by Courtney Richardson. He is with the Peer Power Foundation to talk about this Bridge Summer Camp. And Courtney, good morning to you. Tell me about the program and how it's going to work.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having us on this morning. So we have a Summer Bridge program, and it's to do exactly what the name says. In the summertime, it is important for students to have an academic bridge from the end of school year to the beginning of the school year. And so we're deploying our college students who are success coaches to create a fun learning environment for young people who are uprising 8th through 10th grade students, so that when they get to the classroom, here's what I told the team. When they get to their class the first week of school, we want their teachers to say, what did you do this summer? Because you are on par, or you are mastering the content that you need to master for your grade level.
That sounds great. I love that idea. And I know there's going to be a lot of parents and teachers that love the idea as well. So how does someone get set up and sign up for this program? Where is it? All those details.
So the program is going to be at Mace High School on Poplar Avenue. We want to give a shout out to that executive director over there, Mr. Gaston, for hosting this camp. And to sign up, families and students can go to peerpowerfoundation.org. Notice I said parents and students, parents and families, because sometimes it is the students who say, I am going to Peer Powers Camp. Because what we like to say is, hey, if the students don't enjoy it, or if the students don't advertise for it and they are the target audience, then we need to do some work. But we always have students who are interested. So you can go to peerpowerfoundation.org to sign up, or any of our social media sites and sign up as well.
Okay, so take me through. Is this the first year? Take me through like what it's going to be like. It's Monday through Thursday, I understand, and it's from 9 to 3. Is it just like class? Is it something different? Explain.
So it's going to be Monday through Thursday. We're going to have level 4 and level 5 teachers providing instruction, and our highly trained and highly skilled success coaches, which are college students, are going to be there to help support or fill in the gap for those students who may need a little extra support. But this is also going to be filled with project-based learning. Our partners over at University Schools Innovative School District is a project-based learning school, and that is a practice that allows for students to do projects that are aligned with content, with curriculum, and with standards. So students are going to come away with some projects, and it's going to be fun, which is a part of Peer Power's model. You have our college students who are close in age with them, who are providing a fun learning environment. In fact, our college students are working in the month of June to create lessons and to create activities that would allow for students not just to sit in classroom and have boring lessons, but to have engaging lessons that would help them move academically. And so it's going to be fun. There will be some field trips. There are going to be incentives as well. There will also be other high school students who will be providing some support to their peers as well, which is why we are Peer Power. We believe in the power of the peer, not just the pressure that peers create. We believe that peers have the power to help peers succeed.
So this is going to be Monday through Thursday, July 7th it begins. This is right after the 4th of July weekend, July 7th through the 24th at MACE, the Memphis Academy of Science and Engineering. I understand registration closed later this month. Again, give us the details so people can sign up. We know it's already free, but give us the details again so people know where to sign up.
Okay, so registration will close later at the end of the month if it lasts that long. We are seeing much interest in this camp. But you can go to peerpowerfoundation.org to sign up for your student, or you can sign up to be a part of our Summer Bridge program. That's Monday through Thursday. It's going to be happening at Mace High School. They're on Poplar Avenue, and we look forward to serving you. If you have any questions, you can email programs@peerpowerfoundation.org, and one of my amazing team members will get with you to give you details that you need.
Courtney, one more thing. How many people are you expecting? How many students are you expecting this year?
So we are expecting about 125 students to be a part of this amazing opportunity. And from my understanding, we're well over halfway there. And that number is growing.
Okay, Courtney Richardson, the Peer Power Foundation, talking about a free Summer Bridge Academy for Memphis middle and high school students next month. Registration closes on Friday, June 27th. We appreciate your time, Courtney. Thank you for all that you're doing to help out the students this summer.
Thank you for having me. Looking forward to coming back to let you see the results of the Summer Bridge program.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Friday. The final couple of hours of the spring season as summer begins officially, 9:41 in the evening. And of course, the first weekend of summer looking to be quite hot. High temperatures today in the low 90s, right on par for where we should be for this time of the year, with the southwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Can't rule it out that we can see an isolated downpour in one or two spots. Big ridge of high pressure developing out of northern Mexico, heading in our direction, and that will be bringing us the heat and cranking it up, not just here locally, but regionally, and even in a much larger sense across the eastern United States, as temperatures will be climbing into the 90s and even some spots closing in on 100 degrees here in the eastern U.S. High pressure, again, in the upper levels of the atmosphere creates sinking air. That sinking air compresses. It warms up. So that's going to bring us lower rain chances for one as we go through the next couple of days. Notice not very much in the way of opportunities outside of maybe one or two pockets of downpours as we go through today. Maybe a little better chance on Monday. But again, the chances are going to be pretty paltry here the next couple of days that you can find yourself underneath a cooling downpour. And of course, we still have tons of moisture sitting in the atmosphere. And of course, that is leading up to the heat and humidity combination. So it feels like temperatures here today will range between the upper 90s in our easternmost communities to lower 100s, feeling closer to 105 to 110 potentially across portions of the Delta. And guess what? It gets worse before it gets any better. Actually, the heat begins to build as that ridge builds on top of us heading into your Saturday and Sunday. So it feels like temperatures on Saturday likely closer to 105, and lather, rinse, repeat. We do it all over again heading into your Sunday. And this is going to be, like I said, not just locally, it's a regional thing. 94 Saturday here in the city of Memphis, up to 96 on Sunday, 94 Monday. Lower to middle 90s in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 90s out towards Dallas and Fort Worth, mid 90s also for Kansas City, 97 degrees by Monday in Louisville, Kentucky, mid 90s in Chicago. I mean, this is going to be some stark heat, and some spots here across portions of the upper plains and the Intermountain West even. Some spots here could be 25 degrees above average for this time of the year. And you notice, again, even above average temperatures across the mid-Atlantic states. Some spots here through the Delmarva Peninsula back up towards New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. Some of these spots also running a good bit above average by about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, we are about to head into the summer season, as we've been mentioning, as we start off really tonight, but again, tomorrow, the first full day of summer, the average high 91 degrees. We're right at the crux of the top end of our heat. But of course, that's by the averages. Of course, June in the low 90s, lower 90s on July and August. But of course, we know that it can be much hotter than that. And depending on how the summer goes will determine how September goes. Sometimes we've had some very hot Septembers here across the Mid-South, and that comes by way of drought if we end up with a drought situation. But it seems like we have not had a drought situation unfolding over the last couple of months here in the Mid-South. And of course, the overnight low temperature is much warmer. July, typically the warmest part of the entire year. And when you factor in that plus the humidity levels, my goodness, I mean, we're talking about some hot temperatures here the next couple of days. There might be a couple of areas here as we head towards mid and latter portions of next week that we can see a little bit of relief from the humidity. But when I say a little bit, I mean it. Maybe a degree or two on the dew point numbers. Of course, check the forecast anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Limit your time outdoors. Reschedule outdoor work if you can. Stay hydrated, wear light, loose-fitting clothing, and checking in on some vulnerable people. Again, elderly, homeless. Make sure your children, when they're outside playing around, make sure that they have some time to come inside, cool off, get some water, stay hydrated, and your pets as well. The extended forecast is going to be quite toasty. This is an extended period of time here between now and the mid and latter portion of next week that we're likely to be in the mid-90s. Today being one of the coolest days until probably next Friday or Saturday. High temperatures in the lower 90s here today. A couple of hit and miss showers and storms by the afternoon hours. I think we're pretty dry outside of maybe a pop-up downpour in one or two spots here on your Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the mid-90s, maybe a slightly better chance on Monday. Low to mid-90s there. Mid-90s continue as that ridge of high pressure expands fans once again overhead Tuesday, Wednesday to the mid-90s, overnights in the middle and upper 70s. As we get towards the back end of the week, the ridge starts to buckle a bit, and as it starts to buckle, it starts to open up the flow even more so from the Gulf, and that's going to allow for a little better chance for some rain and storms by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 30 and 40% rain chances to return to the area. But at any rate, if you get caught underneath any downpours, you see almost a daily chance of a shower or thunderstorm, you get caught underneath those randomly placed, randomly timed downpours, the steam is going to replace the heat. Though, again, it's still going to be stifling out there. Again, when you start to see overnight low temperatures in the middle and upper 70s, that gives you a good indication of how muggy the atmosphere is going to be. It could rain at any time, but again, underneath the ridge of high pressure, usually it keeps the weather pretty settled, so we won't see very much in the way of rainfall. One thing that we may see over the coming days with lighter winds, that area of high pressure on top of us, stagnant air is going to become a problem. So ozone, code oranges may be an issue as we head into the longer term here in the coming days, as again, the air mass becomes a bit more stagnant as we head through the end of the weekend and the start of next week.
All 5 former Memphis police officers will appear in federal court for a status conference this morning. This will allow the new presiding judge, Chief Judge Cheryl Littman, to set a new sentencing date. Now, the delay comes after the federal judge handling the case recused himself last week with no explanation, which has resulted in also delaying their state sentencing. Attorney Blake Ballin, who represents Desmond Mills, describes the delay as frustrating. Meanwhile, attorney John Keith Perry, representing Tadarius Bean, says that Judge Norris's recusal is acting in coordination with the law. Today's status conference, attorney Ballin says, is a chance to catch Chief Littman up with the details of the case.
In my experience with her, she will set a schedule of some sort, and so right now, yes, the answer is things are indefinite, but I think in the next week or two, we will have a better idea of when this will all come to a head.
In October, Tadarius Bean and Justin Smith were convicted of obstruction of justice for witness tampering, a charge that carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. Demetrius Haley was also found guilty on those charges and additional lesser charges. Mills and Martin accepted plea deals. Today's hearing begins at 10 a.m. Reporting, I'm Stephanie Douglas, Action News 5.
Well, hello there. It's me, Dolly. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Coming up in just a minute, you're going to hear from one of my people who's going to tell you all about all the fun things happening here at Dollywood to celebrate our 40th anniversary season this year. You don't want to miss it. Now stay right here, and we'll be right back.
And we are back here in the Action News 5 digital desk talking about the 40th anniversary of Dollywood. Yeah, it's been around 40 years. It's going to be a spectacular summer for anyone that goes to Dollywood as they celebrate 40 years. This was something that started as a roadside attraction just on the side of the road, it seemed like, in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, East Tennessee, and is now turned into the #1 theme park in America. This is according to TripAdvisor reviews. And joining me now on the Extra News 5 digital desk, I am joined by Pete Owens. He is Vice President of Marketing and PR at Dollywood. And Pete, I see that you're out and about among some of the crowds there. Good morning to you. Tell me what's going on in Dollywood.
Good morning to you. It's a beautiful day here in East Tennessee. We're right on what we call Show Street, which is our front room. Right when you walk in the gate, this is the first thing that you're going to see. You see the kite sky behind me that's celebrating summer. We're getting ready to open our summer festival this summer. And as you said, it's going to be a great year for us. It is the 40th anniversary. We're celebrating all of those things that we've done in the past, but we're also trying to make new memories with families, and we've got some great new shows, including a brand new drone and fireworks show for summer that's going to do some things that folks around here, and actually folks all over the region, have probably never seen before, and that's drones that actually have fireworks on them, and they work together. So it's going to be a pretty interesting summer.
It sounds like it, and right now, you know, our audience is looking at some video from Dollywood, just a great attraction there that so many people from our area here in the Mid-South, you know, West Tennessee, North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas, thousands of families here love to go to Dollywood in East Tennessee and Pigeon Forge and check things out. So when they arrive this summer, Pete, give us some details on what exactly they can expect this summer that's going to be different from years past.
Well, I mean, we're celebrating the 40th anniversary primarily with shows. We've got a brand new show called Play On that goes through the 40 years of entertainment. You said that Dollywood really started as a roadside attraction, which is true. Started with our train all the way back in 1960. But when we became Dollywood after the 1985 season of Silver Dollar City, we really started to build our brand on entertainment. I mean, obviously that makes sense for Dolly because she is a legend in the entertainment industry, and we have legendary shows. So Play On really chronicles all of that. Talked a minute ago about the summer celebration that we have with the incredible 40th anniversary drone and fireworks show, which goes part of our Sweet Summer Nights dance party that comes out in the evening as soon as it starts to get a little dusky around here. But folks can really, they can reminisce about all of the great food they've had. We're celebrating the best food for 40 years. We're celebrating the best rides over the years. And there are a lot of different little surprises and icons around that folks will remember, including a brand new sign that we've put in that is an homage to what Dolly said all the way back in 1980 when she moved to Hollywood, saw the Hollywood sign and said, "That looks like Dollywood." And we have a Dollywood sign up that is the thing that we used back in 1985 to announce Dollywood. So really some fun, cool things. But any day at Dollywood's a great day. You can go to Dollywood Splash Country, our water park. Folks from West Tennessee can come up and stay in one of our resorts, but just enjoy the day here in the Great Smoky Mountains. It's the most beautiful place on the planet and a great place to come for vacation.
I love it, Pete. So if someone's watching right now, they're interested in bringing their family, what do you recommend they do?
Well, first place to go is go to Dollywood.com. And the opportunity there is you can plan your visit. You can see what value pricing we have for the summer. We have a lot of different deals going this summer, both for the resorts and for the parks, and an opportunity for them to see what the best thing is for them. And then before they arrive, download the Dollywood app so they have the opportunity to see show schedule, the map that we have that's on the app, and any new offers we have. We also have mobile ordering on our app so that if you're out doing something in the park, you decide you and your family want to have lunch, you can order ahead and you can get your lunch whenever you arrive. So it is, technology is new in a theme park that started with an 1880s theme, but there's a lot of trip planning tools that we have and a lot of offers we have for the summer, and that's what I would encourage folks to do first.
That sounds great. Pete Owens, Dollywood's VP of Marketing and PR. We appreciate you coming on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, celebrating 40 years of Dollywood. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great summer, of course, and we appreciate all that you guys do over there at Dollywood. Thank you. Okay, back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. From time to time, we always like to check in with our friend Gabe Saglier. He is our favorite travel guy out there, and Gabe is going back in time a little bit. He's got a behind-the-scenes look at a new show. It's called Disco Show in Vegas. And Gabe, man, you look the part. Good morning.
Yeah, listen, it's a flashback. We're back in the 1970s. We are in the best disco club in New York City. Yeah, this is Disco Show, my friend, right here at the Link Hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. So this is the Glitter Loft. This is where we have a couple of drinks, you and I, to get the hips swinging. And then in we go onto the dance floor that's been all lit up. And of course, my friends have shown up. There's Anthony in the back. Here's Tina. And here's OK. OK's going to show us a here in just a second. But yeah, Disco Show. Just watch it. You are in it. Probably the most immersive, interactive experience in the Las Vegas Strip. They do 2 shows a night, Wednesday through Sundays. This is sort of a family-friendlier option on the Vegas Strip as well, 14 and up. This is just one of those really cool flashbacks that keep you moving all night long. You learn a couple of moves along the way. You make a couple of friends as well, and it just keeps you pumped and energized all night long. One of the great events from the folks at Spiegel World that also brought you Absinthe. Have you ever watched Absinthe? One of the best things I've ever seen. These are the same folks creatively bringing the 70s back to life here with Disco Show.
Oh my gosh, Gabe. I mean, so people can just show up and do what you're doing here? I mean, looks like you're learning some moves, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't help but swing your hips when you've got this, you know, those classic 70s tunes pumping, and you throw a little outfit like this on, you're part of the show. That's the beauty. You're not just watching it. It's not a passive experience. You're immersed in it, and it just feels good to let loose and be part of the show instead of just watching it from a distance.
So you mentioned this is very family friendly, 14 and up, and I understand there's some other fun family attractions there that can really stretch the dollar, huh?
Yeah. So this is the 70s, obviously, but the 80s are back in a big way as well. So nostalgia, a big part of the Las Vegas experience this summer. Check this out. The New Kids on the Block, first time ever with a Las Vegas residency. The Right Stuff, it's called. It shows starting June 20th for a limited time at the Dolby Live Theater at Park MGM. I caught up with Donnie Wahlberg. Here's what he had to say about the inspiration that Las Vegas brings to their show.
I don't know if it's the inspiration of Vegas, it's the aura of Vegas, but something has inspired us as a band to tap into things that we never have before. I just want to tell. I want to like spoil it every day, and I can't. But it's very cool.
So New Kids on the Block with The Right Stuff starting June 20th. And not to be outdone, the Backstreet Boys are also coming to Vegas. They've got an 18-show residency at the world-famous Sphere. It's called Into the Millennium, sort of a flashback to the Y2K area. And beyond that, of course, you've got Boyz II Men, Bruno Mars, Lenny Kravitz, Lady Gaga, Kelly Clarkson, and much, much more coming to Las Vegas. Many of the shows are, of course, are family-friendly, so check those options out. But no shortage of A-list talent on the Strip for summer 2025.
Oh my gosh, it sounds amazing. Quickly, before we let you go, Gabe, where can we get some of this information you just mentioned?
All right, check out visitlasvegas.com. They've got information on all these acts, plus even some free experiences that are family-friendly throughout the summer. And before we let you go, join us in a classic dance move here. What's the
classic one, shall we? Here we're going to do the boxing match. We'll go
Okay.
5, 6, 5, 6, stop that way. Go box, 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 head.
There it is. Back to you. See you out here at Disco Show.
All right, Gabe. That's some good stuff there. Appreciate it. Glad you're with professionals there, having a good time. Gabe Saglier in Vegas there and doing the Disco Show, a new Vegas experience. News 5 Digital Desk. There is a new exhibit at the Children's Museum of Memphis. I remember when my kids were young, we always used to go to the Children's Museum of Memphis. It's so great. It's so wonderful for them. Just get totally immersed in whatever section and whatever area, whatever play area they can get into. This one is really interesting because kids are going to be able to have this kind of immersive experience with an ocean exhibit. It's called Ocean and Me, and joining me now on the Action News 5 digital desk, the CEO of the Children's Museum of Memphis, also a developmental psychologist, Dr. Stuart Burgess, on the Action News 5 digital desk. So tell me a little bit about Ocean and Me, Stuart. Good morning.
Good morning. Ocean and Me is super exciting. I love that you use the word immersive because it's designed to be just that. All of the play and learning that goes on in Ocean and Me is designed to happen as if you were under the sea. It really focuses a lot on celebrating reading and making reading particularly interesting and a focal point of the experience. Also problem solving. There's some math slid in there tied to treasure and jewels on the bottom of the ocean floor to make it really fun and exciting. And then there are all things ocean, wacky ocean facts of all kinds that even make adults go, "Are you serious? I can't believe that." And that's all designed to make it so that kids and their adults share the sort of, oh wow, experience of learning in a meaningful, immersive, and interesting context.
That sounds amazing, Stuart. It really sounds good. Tell me what age it caters to. I know that there are all kinds of ages that go to the Children's Museum. What age is this exhibit specifically catered to?
So this one really probably works well for anybody from about 4 to 12 or so. But younger kids will enjoy the immersive quality of it. The lights are down low and there's uplighting to make it look a little oceany inside. There are lots of fun things that you can do that are pretty straightforward, so you don't have to be a reader to be able to enjoy this. The other piece is in the reading scenarios, the setups that we have, including a giant undersea dome where you have plastic bubble chairs that adults and children sit in together. It can be that the adult is reading a story to the child. It doesn't have to be the child who's reading. And so there's pretty wide range, actually.
Fantastic. Okay, so this exhibit, I understand, goes through the month of August, and we're talking about all kinds of different things because I'm reading about it and I see that it has like puffer fish. They got you have a sunken ship there, submersible, a fish wall. What is the most popular? Because it's been open now for a few days. What's been the most popular area that you've seen kids really enjoy?
They go all over it. So they really kind of pinball machine all the different parts, which is our intention, to make each of the learning and playful space vignettes to really attract kids. They love to rearrange all of these fish on Velcro walls into schools of fish, and to learn about which kinds of fish group together in schools and which don't, and all of that. We think there are a couple new pieces this year. There's a really cool Find the Treasure challenge, which we think that kids are going to really gravitate toward, and I'm looking forward to watching that.
Absolutely, Stuart. Thank you. Anything else you want to mention about this? I mean, how can people see it? How much does it cost to get into the exhibit? If you're a member, non-member, that sort of thing.
Sure. This is no additional charge. So after you pay your entrance fee, or if you're already a member, this is just part of the experience that we add to sort of the return on investment that you get for paying a little bit of money to make sure your kids are having a great time learning. It's about 3,000 square feet, and it's also the ocean theme, and bringing down the lights and a nice air-conditioned space is a nice complement or counterpoint to some of the outdoor play and our splash pad during the summer. So that's super exciting. And if reading is also a big ticket item on your list for summer, which it always should be for children of all ages, then we've also got a brand new reading challenge program called Level Up that kids and parents and grandparents are being really excited about.
Fantastic. And I know that if museum members get in for free, non-members, it's $18 to enter. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, Dr. Stuart Burgess with Children's Museum of Memphis. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and telling us about that latest display, that latest exhibit, Ocean and Me. Sounds fantastic for all the kids this summer. We appreciate your time. Thanks for all you do at the museum, too.
You're welcome.
All right. Good. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. You know, the kids are out for school. You got summer season upon us, and why not take a trip somewhere? And one of the most affordable ways is perhaps going camping around your area, or maybe taking a road trip and going camping. It has become more popular than ever. In fact, 1 of 4 leisure trips out there now includes camping. Let's talk more about this idea of camping across our region and really across the country right now. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Senior Vice President of Marketing for Campgrounds of America, KOA, Diane Eichler, joining us on the digital desk to talk about camping. So, Diane, let's talk about this. It feels like a resurgence of camping out there across the country, but for me and my family, we've always enjoyed camping. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell me about this this popularity that we are seeing in camping all across the country.
Yeah, camping has always historically been a really great summer activity, but over the last 5 or 6 years, we have welcomed over 11 million new campers to camping. So we at KOA are super excited to open up our peak season and welcome all of our campers, old and new, out into the great outdoors again this year.
Yeah, so tell me more about it, because I saw this stat where it said 1 in 4 of those trips, you know, people pick business or pleasure or leisure, and 1 of 4 of those leisure trips involve camping in some form or fashion. And we're talking about all kinds of camping, the RV type or the tents, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, you know, camping has grown. We have a lot of different accommodations that we offer at KOA. And to your point, we've got so many different demographics that are coming out to camp. It can be retirees, it can be Gen Zs who are historically traveling with their larger friend groups. We've got millennial families who are bringing kiddos in tows. We welcome pets. 50% of our campers camp with pets. So we have a really great curated Camp Canine program that welcomes our furry family members as well. And we have accommodations for all types of campers. If you're traveling in an RV, we've got great pull-through sites that have hookups and patios. We've got opportunities for tent campers. We've got glamping opportunities, which is one of my favorite ways to camp with our deluxe cabin product. You can come in, pack a suitcase, you don't need a lot of gear, and walk into a cabin that has a couple of bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchenette, and it's like having a hotel room in the great outdoors. So lots of different types of campers and lots of different accommodations that are available for our campers out in our great KOA system.
That sounds great. I mean, you got all kinds of different types of camping, from the very serious, I would say, to some that are glamping, as you mentioned. I'm curious about that to try and convince my wife. I'm an Eagle Scout, so I'm used to camping in the outdoors. So is my son. But to do a glamping, describe that once again. Is that probably isn't available at every KOA campground out there, but certainly, in fact, there's one near our area here in Marion, Arkansas. But I'm curious about the glamping, the cabin type feels. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, glamping has actually taken off in the last couple years. And so we have, as part of our glamping product, we've got deluxe cabins. At certain other campgrounds, we'll have yurts and tree houses and silos and what we consider unique accommodations. So it's not just a one-stop shop of one type of product, but there's lots of different variety, and each one of those unique glamping opportunities is often signature to space and place. So what you're going to have in potentially Tennessee might be very different than what you would find at one of our campgrounds in California. So that's one of the great things about KOA, is that none of them are the same. We're all unique and we all have different signature opportunities at each campground.
Fantastic, Diane. Finally, if someone wants to maybe kind of look at this as perhaps a summer vacation for the family, where can they go online to do that?
Of course, visit us at KOA.com. And while you're there, I encourage everyone to hop on over to our blog. We've got lots of tips and tricks, tons of recipes, and lots of guides for you to help you get outdoors this summer in a really hassle-free and fun way.
That sounds great. Diane Eichler, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk talking about the enjoyment and popularity of camping all across America. Thanks so very much.
Thank you so much, and happy camping this summer.
Okay, thank you. Happy camping. Back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There is an event that's returning to Memphis in the Mid-South, and this is an event that people love. In fact, they crave, because as we all know, we have some of the best beer around, okay, because we have some of the best water around. But this is a festival of beers that not only encompass some of the local beers, but beers all across the region, all across the nation, even internationally. I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk by Matt Leff. He is the organizer for Memphis Brewfest that's coming to Shelby Farms Park this year, June 21st. It's right around the corner. And Matt, glad to have you on the digital desk. Let's talk about why the move to Shelby Farms Park, other than, of course, it being a great venue. Good morning.
Sure. Good morning, and nice to see everybody. So yeah, we are super excited to be coming to Memphis and reviving Memphis Brewfest at its new home, Shelby Farms Park. And we chose the location for its ease. It's a beautiful site. There's free parking. We have a beautiful stage right there on the festival field where we'll have live music throughout the day by Free World. So it's just a great location, and we're super pumped to be handling it and hosting it there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so tell us a little bit about it, because I know that, you know, this is an event that typically sells out. Tell us about the beers, first of all, because this is, after all, a festival of beer.
Yeah, so we have personally invited, I should say, 40, not 35, which it says behind me, but we have 40 of the best breweries locally and regionally across the Southeast. So all your Memphis favorites will be there, most of them showing up with special offerings and things that you may only find if you visit their tap room versus, say, shopping at your local liquor store or even grocery store. So all your locals are there. We have many breweries coming from across the state of Tennessee and then just the surrounding areas. So last count, I believe we have 137 unique beers that our guests will be able to sample throughout the day out at Shelby Farms Park.
Fantastic. And so this is from noon until 5 o'clock on Saturday, June 21st. And there's a limited number of tickets, and you guys have it that way so it doesn't get too crowded and the crowd's too big, right?
Of course. Yeah. Guest experience is our number one priority. We don't want you waiting in line to try a beer. We don't want you waiting in line to go to the bathroom. We don't want you waiting in line to get food. We want to make sure that your ticket feels valuable and that you have a wonderful experience. So those tickets are $65 and it includes everything but food. Food is the only add-on. If you're hungry, you support local great food trucks and local vendors from the Memphis area while doing so. So yeah, it's going to be a great day, and we are fingers crossed for awesome weather. Hopefully your weather team can dial that in for us.
Yeah, no question about it. I was going to say, so food trucks are going to be there. And what I understand, Matt, is that, you know, you're nothing new to dealing with these beer festivals across Tennessee. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, sure. So my business is Rhizome Productions. We're a full-service festival and events production company based in Nashville, but we've produced festivals all over the state, including Memphis in the past, as well as Knoxville, Chattanooga, and then the Middle Tennessee area. And we actually started in 2011 explicitly as a beer festival company. We've evolved and grown to do all kinds of things across the event space, including music festivals, food events, fundraisers for nonprofits and corporate groups. So we run the spectrum of events. We just wrapped up supporting Country Music Festival here in Nashville the past 12 days. So we're just a diverse group of folks, but we love beer at our core. And we're really excited that we're able to influence Memphis Brewfest into the future and hopefully put it back on everybody's calendar every year moving forward this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I've certainly attended in years past, but it's been a while. It's been a minute. But certainly Shelby Farms Park, that venue in that environment is I would think would be quite the celebration for sure. Let's talk about ways that people can learn more, I guess a website and where people can buy tickets, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So easiest thing to do, go to memphisbrewfest.com. You will find everything you need to know there, all the breweries, all the vendors, all the food trucks. Of course, how to buy your tickets, most importantly. And also just want to share that if you use the code DRINKGOODBEER, you can save a few dollars on those general admission tickets. So when you go over to Memphis Brewfest, just click that tickets button and use the code DRINKGOODBEER to save a couple dollars on those general admission tickets. That code is unlimited usage. So if you want to roll out there with a group of 10 people, feel free to use that code for all 10 tickets. But yeah, you'll be able to learn everything you need at our website, directions to Shelby Farms Park if you've never been before, or maybe you're just a little unfamiliar with the area. But everything you need to know is right there. And of course, I should mention that you do need to be 21 and up to come. Can't bring the kids. This is an adults afternoon only.
21 and over. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Matt Leff, we appreciate your time here on the Digital Desk. Good luck on the 21st. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks so much. Cheers, everybody.
All right. Cheers to you as well. We appreciate back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Guns are the leading cause of death among youth, ages 1 to 17. An average of 7 young people a day are dealing with gunshot wounds, and many of them turn deadly. In fact, gun rate deaths for this group have doubled from 2013 to 2022. Every 11 minutes, someone in this country is killed by a gun. I want to have a deep dive on this discussion with someone who's joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm joined right now by Catherine Hoops. She is someone who is a pediatric critical care physician, and she is someone with Johns Hopkins. And there is at Johns Hopkins a director of Gun Violence Solutions Center there. Catherine, good morning to you. I want to talk a little bit about the ways and the solutions to best prevent gun violence all across the country. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And, like you said, gun injuries, gun violence is the leading cause of death in children in the U.S. right now. But many of these injuries are preventable. And so I think the most important thing that we want people to know is that a simple act to safely and securely store all firearms can help to save lives, especially kids' lives.
So let me talk a little bit about that right now. Is that the most important thing, safe storage of the firearm? I mean, how much, and I don't have the analytics, perhaps you do, but how much could that reduce gun violence when it comes to children?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know through decades of research that safe storage prevents firearm injuries and firearm deaths by not just unintentional shootings, but homicides, suicides, especially among youth. In fact, a study earlier this year showed a substantial reduction by 6 to 32% in youth firearm suicides from safe storage laws that compel safe storage behaviors in states that have them. So we know that this is a really effective intervention to interrupt a pathway from access or exposure to use and to injury. It basically puts a barrier in place so that when a curious toddler finds a firearm in a nightstand, if that gun is loaded, there is a trigger that they can pull and cause harm. But if that gun is in a safe, there are buttons that they can push, and that child won't be harmed by that firearm if it is safely and securely stored.
So I know that about half of all states have some sort of safe storage regulation. Where do we stand here in the Mid-South? We have Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas here. Is this something that you guys are pushing for in states that don't have the regulations?
Yeah, so over half of states do have child access prevention or safe storage laws that promote safe storage behaviors. But even in states that don't have safe storage laws, people can still practice safe storage. By normalizing conversations about secure storage, we can help to promote these behaviors in all states. States that do have them, we can encourage more people to adopt these behaviors. And in states that don't, people can still do it, to take it upon themselves to safely store their firearms.
That's a great point. It doesn't matter what the laws say as long as you practice safety, and one of the elements of safety is having that safe storage at home. Then your family should be better protected that way. Anything else that you feel is important about this issue? I know that you're part of this research there from the Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Violence Solutions, right?
Yeah. So I'm also a pediatric critical care physician. And so in addition to the research that our team does, I work with patients and families every day to educate them on secure firearm storage, on injury prevention. And so we know that lives can be saved when firearms are stored unloaded, locked, separate from ammunition in a way that's inaccessible to kids, right? So kids don't have the code to the safe. They don't have access to that key. And if someone becomes at risk, you might consider changing the code or keeping the key with you, or maybe even getting the guns out of the home for a period of time. But we know that safe storage, when properly implemented, will save lives.
Is that, Catherine, the biggest issue facing a lot of gun owners in terms of what you see from your perspective when it comes to gun violence with youth and teens, gun storage? What are some other mistakes that gun owners make when it comes to this issue?
I think that, really safe storage is a simple step that everyone can take. I think also it's helpful to have these conversations with families, with gun owning families, with non-gun owning families to understand potential sources of risk. Again, families might think that they are protecting their family and keeping their firearm in a place that's inaccessible, like in the back of a nightstand drawer, on a high shelf in a closet. But by having these conversations about the importance of safe storage, maybe even as a non-gun owning parent, having a conversation with another family member before, or a friend before your kid goes over for a play date, we can help to understand the risk that exists in our communities and is posed by unsecured firearms. We think this is one of the most important ways that we can intervene to prevent all firearm injuries, both adult and pediatric, but especially in kids.
Is there a place online, Catherine, where people can go and just learn more about what we talked about, perhaps through the Johns Hopkins Center?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a wonderful toolkit that has some of those conversation starters, research, and other information on our website that you can find at t.jh.edu/safe storage, or you can just search for Safe Storage Saves Lives.
All right, Dr. Catherine Hoops, pediatric critical care physician, Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Violence Solutions. Appreciate your time on the digital desk. Very valuable information there. Simple, easy ways just to cut down on some of the gun violence there affecting so many of our youth. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We always love celebrating Memphians that are doing amazing things everywhere and on the national stage, on a regional stage, international stage, what have you. And joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by Dr. Martin McCain. He is a faculty member from the Rudy E. Scheidt School of Music at the University of Memphis. Go Tigers go, by the way. And he is a trombonist on the Disney soundtrack for the Lilo and Stitch remake that's out in theaters right now. Martin, great to meet you. So first off, tell me a little bit about yourself. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm a musician. As you said, I teach at the University of Memphis. I grew up in Memphis in Whitehaven. And outside of teaching college students, I'm a member of the Count Basie Orchestra. If you go to the musicals at the Orpheum, the trombonist of the Orpheum Theater. And so I get to perform in a lot of different genres and get to teach wonderful next generation of musicians.
So tell me about getting this opportunity. How does it come about where, you know, you have this remake? It's a big movie. I think it was a big TV show back in the day. It is now in theaters, and you're a trombonist. You're on the soundtrack. How does that all happen?
Well, it's a funny thing. Like when you're a recording artist and you're a studio musician, sometimes you show up to the recording studio and you have no idea who you're recording for. And that was the same situation here with Royal Studio. We were told that Bruno Mars was going to have a part of this project, but we had no idea it was for a Disney film. And so we went into the studio, we recorded Burning Love, and really did not know what it was going to come of. And then I didn't find out until a month later when I received the check. I just did a little bit of research and I saw that this was going to be a part of the new Disney movie. So that's an interesting story how I found out.
That's fantastic, and I'm sure it was nice to see the check and everything associated with that. So so tell me, if people go and see this movie in the theaters, are they going to be able to know which song? And you know, I mean, you're a trombonist, so you know, how are they going to be able to pick you out, or at least the song that you're a part of? How about that?
Yeah, so one great thing that this movie is doing, from even the original that came out in 2002, there's a lot of Elvis music in this movie, which is, you know, very iconic with Memphis. But the one track that we recorded at Royal Studio is Burning Love, which is towards the end of the movie. And so, yeah, this is a really nice one because actually Bruno Mars' nephews are singing this, and then we are the horn section in the background.
Fantastic. That is awesome. So, so tell me about people's reaction, family members, friends, to you being on this soundtrack and Burning Love, as you mentioned. I mean, Elvis Presley, here we go.
Absolutely. Well, especially in my family, a lot of my family members are huge Disney fans, and my sister goes to Disney World at least 3 times a year. It's so everybody was extremely excited. I've been on a few different soundtracks before, but never Disney. So that's definitely a special thing for me.
I would think so. I would think so. So tell me what you do at the University of Memphis. Are you a professor? What do you teach?
Yeah, so I'm the trombone professor. So I teach students from freshmen all the way to doctoral students and students who want to be performers or future band directors, educators. And so it's fantastic. I get to work with around 20 trombone students each week. And yeah, we have a really beautiful thing going on at the Scheidt School of Music, especially in our brand new Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, a great situation all around. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We have thousands of people that watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. And not only are they love to celebrate University of Memphis, Memphis Tigers, and a Memphian doing extraordinary things on an international level. Anything else we can talk about, Martin?
Well, I would just say, please go see the movie. I just read last night that the movie is still #1 on the charts, and it's been out for 2 weeks now. So that's amazing, with all the great movies that usually come out during the summer season. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out the movie.
Yeah, and this is a remake of the kids program back in the late '90s. Is it?
The first Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002, and then there was a sequel, and then it
Gotcha.
became a TV series as well.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Appreciate you setting me that straight. Well, listen, Dr. Martin McCain joining us on the digital desk on the soundtrack for the Disney movie Lilo and Stitch, the remake, Burning Love. At the very end, there you will hear him and his trombonist, and his trombone rather. Fantastic stuff. Congratulations once again, and thanks for all the hard work you do at the University of Memphis to inspire other students to do the same. We appreciate your time.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, go. Absolutely. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There is a new competition that is on NBC right now. It's called Destination X, and it is a bold travel competition. And a lot of those contestants are asking, where the X are we, among other things. And I want to learn more about this competition that began about a month ago on NBC. And joining me now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, one of the contestants, Peter Weber, to talk more about this show and more about what viewers can expect. Peter, good morning to you. So tell me a little bit about what you're involved in. Good morning.
Yeah, no, this was truly just the adventure of a lifetime, the ultimate game board, being able to just have a guessing game of where in the X are you, like you said, and just an incredible opportunity to kind of put your skills to the test. You know, for me, I think specifically it was such an awesome opportunity to go into, just with the nature of my career and being a pilot and the passion I have for travel. Being able to be a part of an experience like this was just the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life, and I can't wait for everyone to watch the entire journey. Just so many awe moments, and it was truly special, and I'll never forget it.
So let me ask you this, Peter, because you know, on another network there is something called The Amazing Race, which is almost a travel competition as well. Get us into this competition. Is it similar? Is it different? What are the differences and perhaps the similarities?
It's very different. You know, what's crazy too, and I think a lot of the players, we're all looking really forward to rewatching this back, is we really only saw maybe, you know, 10, 15, 20% of the entire, what everyone's going to see. We saw such a limited portion, and it's, you know, depriving you of your senses. And that's what makes it such a unique show, and something that's never been done before. You know, being able to see such limited things and never truly knowing if what you're seeing is accurate, if it's a red herring, that was just through a huge wrench in everything. It made it so much more difficult. Being able to trust people, and it has the whole gameplay aspect of, you know, betrayal, of alliances, of really just trusting your gut. And that could be a make or break for you, you know, either continuing on to the next week or going home. So I think that, you know, similarities, yeah, being able to travel the world and see a lot of incredible spots, but the competition aspect is brand new. It's never been done before. And it's just super unique, and it's just really just testing and an insane experience.
I know that you're limited on what you can say, but Peter, if you can you break down a little bit of the rules or how this competition is played out on TV?
Yeah, so essentially, every week we're going to be traveling in a bus, and this bus is fogged out, so all the windows you can't see outside. And so you're in close quarters, you're with your competition day in and day out, you're sleeping on the bus. And every city you get to, you're going to be partaking in certain challenges. And these challenges, if you win them, are going to be huge because they're going to offer you information and give you clues to understand possibly where you are. But again, those clues may not always be accurate. And so that's part of the fun of the game, is trying to really decipher what is true, what's not. The alliance building is huge in this game. And, you try to, at the end of every single week, you're going to be placing your X. You go to the map room if you're selected to go to the map room. And the person that has their X furthest away from the correct location of where you actually are in the world at that point, unfortunately gets sent home. And you try to make it to the very end for, a shot at the grand prize and the title. And just, the ultimate competition show. It's really cool, I think, for the viewers too. They're going to be able to guess along too as well, and truly play this game as if you were actually playing it in real life. But it's got everything. It's got the social aspect, the competitive aspect, the challenge aspect, and a lot of twists and turns, a little bit of luck, and just the most epically shot show I think I've ever seen.
What's the grand prize?
$250,000. So that's obviously an incredible amount of money. So that'd be incredible to win that. But I think even more than that, just the pride of being able to, season one, be able to win Destination X. That would be, I think that's the ultimate prize. But yeah, a big sum of money as well.
So tell our viewers how we can watch Destination X.
So Destination X is going to be airing on NBC on Tuesday nights, and then after that, it's going to be on Peacock, available for streaming. So yeah, be tuning in every Tuesday night, and after you can't catch that, you got it on Peacock.
Anything that surprised you that you're allowed to tell us with regards to this? You mentioned how many people are involved in this? Contestants?
So it started out with 10, and then I believe 2 have already been eliminated, and then Janae and we join in the next city that's coming up, do a little bit of a twist, throw like a wrench in the plans for I think everyone involved. So now we're back up to 10. And yeah, there can only be one winner at the end. Again, with that, it's very crucial to be working along with other people because you can't win it by yourself. And so that's also creates a really interesting dynamic too of, if you were to make it far in this game, of when do you split that? And there's obviously a lot of trust, but eventually the nature of the game, there has to be a little bit of betrayal too. So it's very lots of ups and downs and twists, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Peter Weber, contestant on NBC's Destination X, a brand new reality competition that focuses on travel, and the grand prize, $250,000. You can see it on Tuesday nights on NBC and then Peacock streaming afterwards. Peter, thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Best of luck to you in this competition. We appreciate your time.
All 5 former Memphis police officers will appear in federal court for a status conference this morning. This will allow the new presiding judge, Chief Judge Cheryl Littman, to set a new sentencing date. Now, the delay comes after the federal judge handling the case recused himself last week with no explanation, which has resulted in also delaying their state sentencing. Attorney Blake Ballin, who represents Desmond Mills, describes the delay as frustrating. Meanwhile, attorney John Keith Perry, representing Tadarius Bean, says that Judge Norris's recusal is acting in coordination with the law. Today's status conference, attorney Ballin says, is a chance to catch Chief Littman up with the details of the case.
In my experience with her, she will set a schedule of some sort, and so right now, yes, the answer is things are indefinite, but I think in the next week or two, we will have a better idea of when this will all come to a head.
In October, Tadarius Bean and Justin Smith were convicted of obstruction of justice for witness tampering, a charge that carries a maximum of 20 years in prison. Demetrius Haley was also found guilty on those charges and additional lesser charges. Mills and Martin accepted plea deals. Today's hearing begins at 10 a.m. Reporting, I'm Stephanie Douglas, Action News 5.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Friday. The final couple of hours of the spring season as summer begins officially, 9:41 in the evening. And of course, the first weekend of summer looking to be quite hot. High temperatures today in the low 90s, right on par for where we should be for this time of the year, with the southwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Can't rule it out that we can see an isolated downpour in one or two spots. Big ridge of high pressure developing out of northern Mexico, heading in our direction, and that will be bringing us the heat and cranking it up, not just here locally, but regionally, and even in a much larger sense across the eastern United States, as temperatures will be climbing into the 90s and even some spots closing in on 100 degrees here in the eastern U.S. High pressure, again, in the upper levels of the atmosphere creates sinking air. That sinking air compresses. It warms up. So that's going to bring us lower rain chances for one as we go through the next couple of days. Notice not very much in the way of opportunities outside of maybe one or two pockets of downpours as we go through today. Maybe a little better chance on Monday. But again, the chances are going to be pretty paltry here the next couple of days that you can find yourself underneath a cooling downpour. And of course, we still have tons of moisture sitting in the atmosphere. And of course, that is leading up to the heat and humidity combination. So it feels like temperatures here today will range between the upper 90s in our easternmost communities to lower 100s, feeling closer to 105 to 110 potentially across portions of the Delta. And guess what? It gets worse before it gets any better. Actually, the heat begins to build as that ridge builds on top of us heading into your Saturday and Sunday. So it feels like temperatures on Saturday likely closer to 105, and lather, rinse, repeat. We do it all over again heading into your Sunday. And this is going to be, like I said, not just locally, it's a regional thing. 94 Saturday here in the city of Memphis, up to 96 on Sunday, 94 Monday. Lower to middle 90s in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 90s out towards Dallas and Fort Worth, mid 90s also for Kansas City, 97 degrees by Monday in Louisville, Kentucky, mid 90s in Chicago. I mean, this is going to be some stark heat, and some spots here across portions of the upper plains and the Intermountain West even. Some spots here could be 25 degrees above average for this time of the year. And you notice, again, even above average temperatures across the mid-Atlantic states. Some spots here through the Delmarva Peninsula back up towards New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. Some of these spots also running a good bit above average by about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, we are about to head into the summer season, as we've been mentioning, as we start off really tonight, but again, tomorrow, the first full day of summer, the average high 91 degrees. We're right at the crux of the top end of our heat. But of course, that's by the averages. Of course, June in the low 90s, lower 90s on July and August. But of course, we know that it can be much hotter than that. And depending on how the summer goes will determine how September goes. Sometimes we've had some very hot Septembers here across the Mid-South, and that comes by way of drought if we end up with a drought situation. But it seems like we have not had a drought situation unfolding over the last couple of months here in the Mid-South. And of course, the overnight low temperature is much warmer. July, typically the warmest part of the entire year. And when you factor in that plus the humidity levels, my goodness, I mean, we're talking about some hot temperatures here the next couple of days. There might be a couple of areas here as we head towards mid and latter portions of next week that we can see a little bit of relief from the humidity. But when I say a little bit, I mean it. Maybe a degree or two on the dew point numbers. Of course, check the forecast anytime and everywhere on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Limit your time outdoors. Reschedule outdoor work if you can. Stay hydrated. Wear light, loose-fitting clothing. And checking in on some vulnerable people. Again, elderly, homeless. Make sure your children, when they're outside playing around, make sure that they have some time to come inside, cool off, get some water, stay hydrated, and your pets as well. The extended forecast is going to be quite toasty. This is an extended period of time here between now and the mid and latter portion of next week that we're likely to be in the mid 90s. Today being one of the coolest days until probably next Friday or Saturday. High temperatures in the lower 90s here today. A couple of hit and miss showers and storms by the afternoon hours. I think we're pretty dry outside of maybe a pop-up downpour in one or two spots here on your Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the mid 90s. Maybe a slightly better chance on Monday. Low to mid 90s there. Mid 90s continue as that ridge of high pressure expands fans once again overhead Tuesday, Wednesday to the mid-90s, overnights in the middle and upper 70s. As we get towards the back end of the week, the ridge starts to buckle a bit, and as it starts to buckle, it starts to open up the flow even more so from the Gulf, and that's going to allow for a little better chance for some rain and storms by Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 30 and 40% rain chances to return to the area. But at any rate, if you get caught underneath any downpours, you see almost a daily chance of a shower or thunderstorm. You get caught underneath those randomly placed, randomly timed downpours. The steam is going to replace the heat, though, again, it's still going to be stifling out there. Again, when you start to see overnight low temperatures in the middle and upper 70s, that gives you a good indication of how muggy the atmosphere is going to be. It could rain at any time, but again, underneath the ridge of high pressure, usually it keeps the weather pretty settled, so we won't see very much in the way of rainfall. One thing that we may see over the coming days with lighter winds, that area of high pressure on top of us, stagnant air is going to become a problem. So ozone, code oranges may be an issue as we head into the longer term here in the coming days, as again, the air mass becomes a bit more stagnant as we head through the end of the weekend and the start of next week.
Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are always trying to have optimal health, especially this summer where we're trying to get in shape. We're trying to be optimally healthy, both mentally, physically, nutrition-wise. And one of the things that we all have to keep in mind is that your oral health, your mouth health has to be optimal as well if you want to lead a healthy life. And joining me right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Dr. Kevin Reed, a family dentist, to talk a little bit more about the importance of oral health. And Kevin, good morning to you. Let's talk a little bit about why the health of your mouth is so important to your overall health. Good morning.
Yes, Andrew, thank you. Listen, we all know about how important it is to have our teeth, right? We love our smiles. But what they've come up with in the last 10 to 15 years is the link between your teeth, your gums, and the blood supply that's going to your oral cavities and the rest of your body. And what we know, what they've proven, is that periodontal disease, which is over 70% of America after, of the world really, after 40 has periodontal disease. We know periodontal disease is a causal agent, a causal factor of some pretty serious systemic problems, such as heart disease, diabetes, stroke, the potential for strokes, Alzheimer's even, and preterm labor. That's just to name a few.
Yeah, there's no question that that kind of situation where you do not take care of your mouth and your body overall suffers. There's no question about it. So let's talk about some fundamental ways, Kevin, because we have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning on the digital desk. I know that your family practice has been in business now for 75 years. So where can people start to really kind of take care of their health orally when it comes to not only seeing a dentist, of course, but in between those dentist visits?
Well, so we don't just blow by that, though. Obviously, quote, seeing the dentist, but coming to a dentist where you get a comprehensive exam, where they are checking the amount of bleeding in your mouth. They're checking for your cavities. That is, and you're getting professional help from the hygienist and the dentist. That is like the number one step. And then they're going to help you tailor your home care, which is going to be brushing. Nowadays, there's some excellent electric brushes. Oral-B makes one, Sonicare makes one. They're fantastic. In addition to the manual brushing, which is when you brush your teeth, what we want you to know is think that you're brushing your gums. If you brush your gums, your teeth will get cleaned. And that is the most important factor in your mouth, is the gums, the periodontal, which is gums. And then, of course, obviously people know about flossing. The electric brushes help with that for those that slack a little bit on flossing, but we recommend flossing. And the third adjunct that we recommend is a water pick. And then the amount of times that you come back to the dentist is really important, and that would be your maintenance care. Some people it's 3 months, some people it's 4 months. A healthy periodontal situation would be 6 months.
Let's talk about certain foods that you see in your practice that get people in trouble when it comes to their mouth, the oral care, that sort of thing.
Well, here is a very simple rule that we preach every day in our practice and have for 30 years. They've done studies about the amount of sugar that is retained in your saliva. And so let's be clear about one essential rule, and that is cavities can only start by sugar. So every time I have something with sugar, a lot of times it's liquid. It could be my coffee. It could be the morning Coke. That's not a problem if you have it in 30 minutes. The problem is every time you sip a drink that has sugar or eat a food that has sugar or a food that is a carbohydrate that can turn to sugar, every time you do that, your saliva retains enough sugar for 30 minutes to cause decay. So then when you put on top of that whatever your genetic makeup is, if you happen to have hard teeth, that may not be as big a factor. But if you've got softer teeth, that's a huge factor. So sugar is the number one element. We call it the 30-minute rule. Just remember, every time you have sugar in any form, it's a 30-minute rule. It's going to be in there for 30 minutes. So if you do that all day, you're bathing your teeth. And that is really the number one thing, is sugar. Now, I tell our patients, don't worry about your meals. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, have sugar. It's not a problem, because what do we know? Even if you don't brush, now if you went and brushed, it would be gone, right? But if you don't brush right after the meal, we know it's going to be gone in 30 minutes. So the number one way to take care of your teeth is regular visits, but eliminate sugar between meals. You can use fake sugar. I'm not going to speak to whether or not fake sugar causes other problems. That's beyond my expertise. But fake sugar does not cause decay.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. Sugar causing cavities, that's huge, Kevin. Thank you. What about oral cancer, and how prevalent is it? Ways to prevent it, that sort of thing.
Again, we go back to the same theme. That is one of the most important things we're going to do in your checkups. Your initial checkup, your follow-up maintenance checkups, we're going to be checking, and the best way to check for oral cancer is visually. And we do palpate, and we look at the tongue and different areas that you can't see. But visually is the number one way. There are other devices out there that can shine a light, that can show areas of concern. Certainly, if we see an area of concern, we send you to an oral surgeon, and they do biopsies. You want to eliminate things that potentially cause cancer. And let's talk about such as smokeless tobacco, such as regular smoking, cigars, cigarettes, that sort of thing. Let's go to the prevalence of oral cancer. It is on the rise. It has become a very significant health risk. I've been doing this 43 years. I know. I only look like I've been doing it 35, but I've been doing this 43 years, and the amount of cancer that we saw 40 years ago was nothing compared to the amount that we see now and send into people. Roughly 60,000 new cases in the United States occur every year. That's a lot. So oral cancer, big, big concern.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes, Kevin?
You know, I think it gets back to regular care. I think the biggest mistakes are the perception that if I, as an individual, look in my mouth and I don't see anything and I don't feel anything, that everything must be okay. Unfortunately, by the time we see or feel, it's probably gotten to a point that now we're in more serious problems such as root canals, crowns, or extractions. So I think they get in the mistake of not doing the daily maintenance and not doing the however much you need to do during the year, 1, 2, 3, or 4 visits with a dentist. I think that's the biggest mistakes, and too much sugar. People don't understand about sugar. You know, again, I go back to that. People would say, well, Doc, I only have 1 Coke a day. I go, that's fine. How long does it take you to drink your Coke? Well, I keep it on my desk and I have it all day long. So it's not quantity, it's frequency. And so I think sugar, I think lack of daily care, I think lack of regular maintenance visits with your dentist. That's the 3 big areas.
That's great. I appreciate that. 3 big bullet points right there. Anything else before we let you go, Kevin? This has been very informative for our viewers.
Well, I would just encourage you to find a dentist, Google them. We've got a fun documentary you can see about our practice, but there's 8,000 dentists in Shelby County, and they're great. And so find a dentist, find a dental home that fits you. Maybe it fits your insurance, whatever it needs to be for you to be able to use that plan. And let's go there. Let's let them guide you in your personal home care. And I think that's where you go. I think that's what you do.
All right. I appreciate it. Dr. Kevin Reed with Reed
one more
Family
thing.
Dentistry.
One more
Yeah.
thing, Andrew.
Okay.
I did forget. And I don't know where I stand on this, but I want to bring it up. One of the things that's in the news right now is taking out fluoride from the water. And I didn't mention fluoride. I should be a dentist. I should say absolutely don't do that. What I'm going to tell you is after 18 to 20 years of age, fluoride in the water does nothing for your teeth. It does nothing for mature enamel. It's for children, okay? So there could be some argument. Maybe there's some scientific evidence that we didn't used to have, and maybe there's some reason why that could sometimes happen in communities. But what is there, what we've been using for 20 years, is we put fluoride on your teeth now, even as adults, and it's 22,000 parts per million, and it actually incorporates and strengthens the enamel. We didn't used to have that until about 15 or 20 years ago. So we do treat adult teeth with fluoride, and that's very important for hardening the teeth. In the water, great, very important for children. In the toothpaste, it's really insignificant. 80 to 100 parts per million does nothing really in the toothpaste. So that's important, fluoride.
Okay. All right. Well, you got that in there. Dr. Kevin Reed, we appreciate your time. Thanks
you.
for explaining how important oral care is to our overall health, where people make mistakes, what people can do, just simple, easy steps to live a optimal, healthy life. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Certainly a great conversation there with Kevin Reed there. Been in business now for over 40 years. Certainly a wealth of knowledge there. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, we have a treat for you. I am being joined by someone who is currently in the Wicked play right now. Glinda, she plays. She's also done a number of different off-Broadway shows, national tours, TV appearances. We are talking about a superstar here. Joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, actor Laura Wyaz. on the digital desk talking about a show that's coming to the Orpheum Theater where she is going to be the main event. Laura, good morning to you. How are things?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to be there.
We can't wait to have you. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have this incredible storied career here where you've, done this great magical tour here. You've been on Broadway currently, you're off Broadway, you did TV shows, all kinds of appearances. Tell us a little bit about your background, where are you from, how you got started.
Sure, yeah. I'm originally from the Hartford, Connecticut area. And I always just sort of secretly loved singing and dancing. I was sort of shy though. And in high school, I joined the chorus and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I decided to go to college. I went to college in Winchester, Virginia at Shenandoah University. And then kind of right out of school, I started touring and I toured for a while and just kept building my resume and meeting people and doing off-Broadway shows and it's just been a wonderful, diverse, you sort of piecemeal everything together, right? You'll do a concert. I've done symphony orchestras. I've toured with Kenny Rogers, which was amazing. I'm currently in Kimberly Akimbo touring again. I've done Broadway, off Broadway, some film. It's all just a very crafted career, which I like. It's always different, always changing. You have to be able to adapt and pivot to certain things. So yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle for sure.
That sounds amazing. I love it. I love hearing about it. It gives all of us people who are, especially we have thousands of people who watch, aspiring actors and actresses, the hope of just, making it big. And certainly you've done this. I want to talk a little bit about what's bringing you here to Memphis at the Orpheum in downtown. Kimberly Akimbo, tell me about that story and how you got involved.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm so excited to come to Memphis. So I saw the show only one time and I was like, it impacted me so greatly. And that's the type of work as I get older that I like to do. I mean, I'm sure, I love doing funny, fluffy things, and this is very funny, but it impacted me so greatly that I thought it was important and the message is important. And I was like, I need to be a part of this show. It's so hilarious and it's heartbreaking and it's at the end, it's very hopeful. So it's this family in New Jersey in the 1990s before cell phones. And I played the mom, Patty, and my daughter, Kimberly, has a rare genetic disorder where she ages 4 to 5 times faster than, the average person. So in the show, she's 16, but she's played by an actress who's much older, which I also love. So she looks different, right? And she's in this new town. They had to move to Lodi, New Jersey. She doesn't quite know why. Her parents are dysfunctional. I'm sort of a narcissist, a little bit of a hypochondriac. Dad is a little wacky. She has a crazy Aunt Deborah. She's navigating all these things, going to a new school, her first crush, all while looking, not like the average teen. And it's really such a well-crafted story. It was a play first, and then they put music to it, and it's a genius show. So yeah, that's kind of had been my journey. I auditioned first for the understudy, and they were like, "Well, you're not really right for the understudy, but we'll keep you on file." And then, through a process of auditions, I ended up getting the part. So not the understudy, but the part.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And this is going to be June 24th through 29th at the Orpheum in downtown Memphis. A lot of people may be thinking about ways to get involved in theater more often, and certainly we have some talent here all across Memphis. What would be the best advice for some of those aspiring actors and actresses out there that you'd give?
Well, I'll say this, you never know where your next job is going to come from. I got my equity card in a very strange way. I was doing a children's theater show, which, obviously nobody was coming to. We were playing in cafeterias. I was playing a mouse. And then, I was kind and I always, try to have a positive attitude and a good work ethic. And then a year later, my friend, called me up and he had done a Broadway show and he said somebody's leaving and I think you'd be great for it. And he passed my name along to the director. I didn't have an agent. And, you know, well, lo and behold, I ended up getting it. So you never know where your next job is going to come from. So I guess my point is, you know, just keep working however you can and have a good attitude and be kind to the people that you work with, because, you know, you may not be even the most talented person, but if you're great to work with, people will want to work with you. And then they'll recommend you for this thing, and then that'll snowball to the next thing. And that's kind of how these things happen. So just, you know, keep doing it no matter how big or small it is. If you love it, I think good things will happen if you stay with it.
That's great advice. I mean, hard work always pays off, and treat others the way you want to be treated, right? It's not that hard.
Yeah, it's really not. Really not.
I mean, seriously, that's great stuff. All right, so anything else you want to say to the audience members, to the people, if they come by and they check out Kimberly Akimbo later this month, what would you tell them?
I would tell them the ice skating is real. We really ice skate. A lot of people think it's a trick. Even when I saw it on Broadway, I said, "Oh, those are little wheels," but they're not. And I didn't know until I had my costume fitting. They said, "Oh, we need to fit you for ice skates, and you have to have ice skate practice." And I was like, "What?" So we're really ice skating, first of all, which I think is just, you know, a phenomenal, you know, thing to be able to do on a Broadway stage. And yeah, just come with an open heart and ready for a good time, and maybe bring some tissues. There are some parts that will get you, but it's at the end of the show, it's like you just leave with this hopeful message, you know. Do the thing, call the person, say what's on your mind, take the vacation. It's a very like empowering human story. So hope you enjoy it.
Awesome. Laura Wyaz joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Congratulations on such a successful career and what you're doing. Thank you for the advice for all of those aspiring actors and actresses out there across Memphis and the Mid-South. And good luck on this tour. And Kimberly Akimbo, June 24th through the 29th at the Orpheum. We appreciate your time, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. If you're like me, you are always trying to figure out a better way to get a better night's sleep. It's so elusive for so many of us. We are so busy. Our lives are just chock full of all kinds of busyness with work and various activities outside of work. So it is so important to get that sleep for so many health benefits. So how do we do it? Not next week, not this weekend, tonight. How are we going to do it? Well, let's bring on someone who's an expert in sleep. I am joined right now by Prahad Sharma. He is a pulmonologist. He's also a sleep physician at Regional One Health. He leads a sleep clinic at the hospital, and he's joining us right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Prahad, thank you for joining us here. Where do people, first off, make their biggest mistakes when it comes to trying to find a way to get some good rest out there? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Where do people make the biggest mistakes?
So I think there's a lot of things that we could do. It's not the mistake that we make, but it's basically that we don't know that all those small things matter. As for everything else, preparation is the key for the sleep. So if you prepare yourself well, then you may have a good night's sleep. But if your preparation is not that good, then the sleep may not be that great. And what we talk about that is what you do throughout the day, what you eat throughout the day, how you spend your day, what happens throughout your day does matter your sleep. At the same time, how you sleep, when you sleep, and what environment you sleep in also affects your sleep.
What's the biggest factor in getting a good night's rest? If you had to name it, I know there's several, okay, but if you had to name the biggest factor in getting a good night's rest, what is it?
So first thing is, I think you need to prepare yourself, as we said earlier, that have a relaxing environment, calm down, what we call the wind down time. And when you go to the bed itself, you have to stick on a schedule, because things work better if you stick to a strict schedule. And sometimes it's difficult over the weekend. What is more important at that time is you try to fix your wake up time, because you can control that. So if you remain on that rhythm, what we call the circadian rhythm, then your sleep is better. And when you go lie down on the bed, make it dark, quiet, cool, and comfortable, so that you can sleep well without having any external disturbances to you. No TV, no cell phone, no blue light, nothing in the bedroom.
What's the ideal amount of sleep? Sometimes people get too much, sometimes people get too little. What's ideal?
Everyone has their own requirement. Few people need a little bit more. Few people may be okay even on the less amount of sleep. So anywhere about 6 to 8 hours may be normal for most of the people. There are few people who may function okay when they sleep 4 to 6 hours. We call them short sleepers. So that maybe few people who may be sleeping 4 or 5 hours may still be okay. But if you are sleeping more than 8, 10 hours, then again, that is abnormal. You should not be requiring that much of sleep. But all of those things change with age and time.
I know a lot of people have sleep apnea. It's a pretty common condition out there. Can you briefly explain some of the issues associated with that and the best remedies from your perspective?
Yes. So as you said, yes, sleep apnea is very common, and 1 in 5 male and about 1 in 6 or 7 female will have sleep apnea. But a lot of them goes undiagnosed or underdiagnosed, because people don't realize the symptoms they are having may be coming from sleep apnea. So few of the symptoms are people may just have mild difficulty kind of thinking, brain fogging or something like that, or they may also have early morning headache, which goes away after a few hours, or they feel a little bit irritable throughout the day, maybe a little bit sleepy during the day. So all those may be just a telltale sign of sleep apnea, but if they go unnoticed for a long time, then you run into other problems.
Okay, we know that so many people are looking at screens, and we know that perhaps people's diet isn't the greatest when it comes to winding down, as you mentioned earlier, to get that good night's sleep, that good night's rest. What are some of the key takeaways? If you had to make a bullet list of maybe 3 or 4 different things you can do right now, tonight, to have that great night's sleep, what would you do?
Okay. Again, I will say wind down time is very important. So that's when you reflect on. Some people who likes to write may even do journaling or something, so that they can vent out their feeling, so that they can go to the bed relaxed. And reading books, doing something very quiet and not too exciting, not too entertaining helps. And also another thing is smoking and alcohol intake, because a lot of people think like maybe if they drink maybe a couple of glasses of wine or drink, they may feel sleepy and they may sleep better, but it works the other way, meaning your good quality sleep is taken away and you wake up not feeling rested, feeling tired, because the very important part of the sleep called the REM sleep is taken away. At the same time, if you smoke before bedtime, that is a stimulant and that will not let you fall asleep quickly and causes more problems. So preparing the right environment, not drinking too much before the bedtime, not smoking, and having a very comfortable bed is the key to have a good sleep.
Right. Also, a cool bedroom, right? I mean, you want to make the temperatures.
Yes, cool bedroom, very comfortable. Yeah, it may be worth investing in finding a very comfortable mattress for you.
Excellent. Okay, one other thing, there's a lot of sleep aids out there. Some people might take melatonin. Some people might take an Ambien. Some people will, have a gummy, a CBD or something. What do you think of those three, and do you recommend a sleep aid?
So it depends what is driving the problem. So because if it is sleep apnea, which is one of the most common problem, then those aid may not help. Because if it is sleep apnea, then we had to diagnose with the sleep study and treat you for that particular problem. But other problems, let's say people cannot fall asleep because there is misalignment with the time and everything, then on those people, melatonin may help. And the pills like Ambien, that is more for the problem, what we call insomnia. And for that one, people have difficulty initiating sleep, and Ambien may help, but that is not the best medication, because a lot of the time trying to find what is causing the problem and attacking or solving the underlying problem is the best modality.
Okay, Prahad Sharma, we appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Very informative, and it's something that I think so many Americans struggle with, getting a better night's sleep. And hopefully, people have been taking notes and really kind of thinking about a better night's sleep tonight through some of your recommendations. So we appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. As spring is blooming, so does allergy season. Tell me about it. It may trigger all kinds of flare-ups for millions of people, especially those living with eczema. It leads to an increase of itchiness and inflammation and a lot of discomfort out there. Joining me right now on the Digital Desk to talk more about this issue is Dr. John Browning. He's Chief of Dermatology at Children's Hospital of San Antonio, and Leon Toinette, who cares for a 7-year-old daughter dealing with eczema. Good morning to you both. Dr. Browning, I want to begin with you. I understand you have children that have eczema. Talk to our audience about what exactly is it and some of the biggest challenges for some of those people out there. Good morning. I do not hear you, doctor. For some reason, I don't hear anything.
Okay.
Now I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, so as a pediatric dermatologist, as well as parent of 2 teens with eczema, they've had eczema since they were kids, I can definitely relate to the frustration of the constant itching, the red cracked skin, and the heartache of eczema. Believe it or not, there's 26 million Americans that suffer from atopic dermatitis or eczema, including 9.6 million kids. And there is a lot of frustration in not being able to find the right treatment. I know with my own kids, we had lots of sleepless nights and vacations that could be impacted because the eczema would flare. Joining with me now is Leon Toinette, and I've gotten to know her as well as her daughter Casey, who I've taken care of for many years, and she can relate to the frustration and the constant itching, dryness, cracked skin as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Leon Toinette, go ahead. Tell me about your 7-year-old daughter and how eczema has affected her.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter Casey is very vibrant. She's such a bright light. She enjoys swimming and musical theater and all the things associated with childhood. However, from birth to around age 5, her skin was dominated with redness, dryness, and constant itching. In its heightened state, her skin was so delicate that the lightest touch could cause her skin to break and bleed. Now, as parents, as you can imagine, her father and I had to be cautious about who could hold her and really manage with her. So it was difficult to explain as well as difficult to understand for friends and family. We would later find that Casey also has multiple allergies, anywhere from food to lotions to pollen, even some eczema treatments that were available for her age, as well as some of the known home remedies could trigger a reaction for her. Now, much like Dr. Browning's children, Casey struggled. And when you have that itching going on, it compromises the integrity of the skin's protective barrier. So we had to constantly monitor her. Now, I tried different things. I tried cool cloth. I tried special baths, but nothing seemed to help her. It was an endless, daunting struggle.
Okay, so Leon Toinette, let me ask you again. How has your daughter been able to find relief, and how do you help her kind of navigate this, not just for now, but for later in life too?
Oh, yes. Happy to answer this one. Now, after trying multiple treatments, we were introduced to the Vitamma trials by Dr. Browning and his team, which we are definitely grateful for. Since then, Casey's eczema has been a lot easier to manage. And I believe my favorite part is the quiet peacefulness of not focusing on it 24/7. But also, I didn't do this alone. I had help, and I advise everyone to get help. Talk to your doctor or dermatologist and find a treatment that works for you and your family.
Okay, and Dr. Browning, tell me more about how patients or people living with eczema can find relief, and what do you have for parents that are trying to manage eczema for their children?
Well, don't get frustrated. Eczema can be quite frustrating, but there's hope. This time of year during allergy season, we do see lots of flares, and I spent 4 years of my life in Middle Tennessee going to college, so I know about allergy season in Tennessee. But in December 2024, the FDA approved Vitamma Terpenerof Cream 1%. It's an Organon product. That's who we're here with today. And Vitamma is the first and only steroid-free cream that's approved for adults and kids ages 2 years of age and older with eczema. It can be used anywhere on the body, including the face, the sensitive areas, and there's no time restriction with it. There's also no black box warning. Of course, it is a prescription product, so I would encourage you to talk to your doctor more about it. In the trials, it was well tolerated. There were some common adverse reactions that occurred in 1% or more of patients, such as lower and upper respiratory tract infections, folliculitis, headache, asthma, vomiting, ear infection, pain in the extremity, and abdominal pain. But again, overall, it was well tolerated, and we saw 46% of our patients achieve clear or almost clear skin in 8 weeks, compared to 18% of the patients that were receiving just the cream alone without any active ingredients.
Okay, Dr. John Browning and Lee Antoinette, we appreciate your time on the Digital Desk explaining for us the problem, the solutions, and how to deal with it all. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Let's talk about cholesterol for a minute. We hear about good levels of cholesterol, bad levels of cholesterol. We hear about good and bad cholesterol. Let's bring in someone to decipher what all this means and how we can lead the best healthy life possible. I'm joined right now by Dr. Anna Yang with Regional One Health. Dr. Yang, again, thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. So we hear so much about good and bad cholesterol. Tell us about these two types and how we should deal with them both. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks again for having me. So yes, cholesterol can be a little bit difficult to understand. So cholesterol is something that everybody has in their body and everybody needs to have in their body. It's really important for a lot of your body's functions, making cells and some vitamins and different things. So everybody has to have cholesterol. So where cholesterol becomes a problem is when there's too much of it. So when you go to your doctor and you get your cholesterol levels tested, you usually get a whole slew of numbers called the lipid panel. And so on this lipid panel, you might find things like total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. So what you hear about when people say bad cholesterol is they're generally referring to that LDL. Or the low density lipoprotein. And this is a type of cholesterol. And these are the bad cholesterols because they're responsible for narrowing your blood vessels. They're the ones that if people say, oh, you've got too much cholesterol in your arteries and they're clogging your blood flow and, you're at risk for certain things like, heart disease or strokes. That's what they're talking about is that LDL. Now, on the flip side, the HDL you actually want more of. So the HDL is, quote unquote, that good cholesterol. And the good thing about the HDL is it actually helps you remove the unwanted cholesterols from your body. So it brings cholesterol back to the liver is one of the things that it does to remove some of the cholesterols that you don't want to build up. So that's what makes it, quote unquote, the good cholesterol.
So let me ask you, because I know that these numbers have changed over time. There have been numbers where the bad cholesterol or the overall cholesterol can't exceed 200, and now that number's been reduced. Tell me where we are on the proper levels. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right.
Sure. So the most important numbers are really the LDL and the HDL. That total cholesterol number doesn't matter as much as those two, and the ratio of how much LDL versus non-LDL cholesterol that you have. The main non-LDL cholesterol is HDL, but there are other non-LDL cholesterols out there too. So the LDL cholesterol, we would like that number lower. So ideally under 100. Now, certain people who already have some medical conditions may want that number even lower, potentially even, less than 80 or 70, depending on other factors. But in general, LDL under 100 is the goal. The HDL, on the other hand, you want higher. So greater than 40 or 60 or, higher numbers are a good thing for HDL.
Okay, so I'm just thinking about my panels when I get blood work done. Sometimes they were like, okay, you got to keep your cholesterol levels under 200. Are they factoring in HDL and LDL with that?
So generally with that 200 number, they're talking about the total cholesterol number, which matters as well. But truly the LDL is the more important one that you want lower.
Okay. And what about lipoprotein little a? Because that is something that more and more people are talking about. And I'm just wondering if that is a big concern when it comes to heart disease.
Yeah, so it's a different number now that people are using to measure, and it does seem to correlate with risk factors for things like heart disease. So even though that number isn't traditionally in your typical lipid panel, sometimes doctors, again, depending on your risk factors and what other medical conditions you have, are ordering this test too as another way to measure the cholesterol levels and your risk and whether or not you need to be on potentially medication to lower your cholesterol.
Okay, and what are some of the best ways to improve our cholesterol numbers?
So non-medication wise, diet is really where you really need to monitor for your cholesterol. So the majority of the cholesterol that your body needs is already being made by your liver. So you really don't need extra cholesterol. And you get cholesterol from animal products. So these are things like meat or dairy or eggs. So you want to decrease the amount of saturated fat that you're eating. These will contribute to your LDL going up. So saturated fats, especially things that you find in these animal products. But you want to increase instead the diet of good fats. So these are your unsaturated fats. These include things like avocado fats, fats that you get from nuts or seeds or fish. So changing the ratio of where you get fat from your diet will make a big difference. For those who are overweight, even losing just 5 to 10 pounds can make a pretty good difference on your cholesterol numbers. The other thing is increasing fiber, increasing your soluble fiber intake, decreasing your overall calories. These also make a good difference with your cholesterol as well, raising the HDL and lowering the LDL.
What's the most important thing you want people to remember when it comes to cholesterol, your numbers, how to bring it down, everything that we talked about?
So the first step is to check. So the first step is to make sure you go to your doctor and you get appropriate screening. Sometimes these aren't things that you feel. Sometimes people with normal weights have elevated cholesterol without knowing it. It's not always just something you get when you're overweight or obese. So make sure you go to your doctor. We even recommend children now get screened for cholesterol because we're seeing that even children are having problems with high cholesterol. So the first step is just to make sure you go to your doctor, get screened at appropriate intervals, do what you can, to improve your own habits in your daily life. And if necessary, potentially starting medication as prescribed by your doctor to lower your risk, for heart disease, strokes, and even losing your arms or legs because you don't have, good blood flow to these parts of your body.
All right, Dr. Anna Yang, we appreciate your time as always on the Action News 5 digital desk. Very informative this morning. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me.
Joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Friday, the final couple of hours of the spring season as summer begins officially, 9:41 in the evening. And of course, the first weekend of summer looking to be quite hot. High temperatures today in the low 90s, right on par for where we should be for this time of the year, with the southwesterly breeze coming in around 5 to 10 miles per hour. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Can't rule it out that we can see an isolated downpour in one or two spots. Big ridge of high pressure developing out of northern Mexico, heading in our direction, and that will be bringing us the heat and cranking it up, not just here locally, but regionally, and even in a much larger sense across the eastern United States, as temperatures will be climbing into the 90s and even some spots closing in on 100 degrees here in the eastern U.S. High pressure, again, in the upper levels of the atmosphere creates sinking air. That sinking air compresses. It warms up. So that's going to bring us lower rain chances for one as we go through the next couple of days. Notice not very much in the way of opportunities outside of maybe one or two pockets of downpours as we go through today. Maybe a little better chance on Monday. But again, the chances are going to be pretty paltry here the next couple of days that you can find yourself underneath a cooling downpour. And of course, we still have tons of moisture sitting in the atmosphere. And of course, that is leading up to the heat and humidity combination. So it feels like temperatures here today will range between the upper 90s in our easternmost communities to lower 100s, feeling closer to 105 to 110 potentially across portions of the Delta. And guess what? It gets worse before it gets any better. Actually, the heat begins to build as that ridge builds on top of us heading into your Saturday and Sunday. So it feels like temperatures on Saturday likely closer to 105, and lather, rinse, repeat. We do it all over again heading into your Sunday. And this is going to be, like I said, not just locally, it's a regional thing. 94 Saturday here in the city of Memphis, up to 96 on Sunday, 94 Monday. Lower to middle 90s in Jackson, Mississippi, mid 90s out towards Dallas and Fort Worth, mid 90s also for Kansas City, 97 degrees by Monday in Louisville, Kentucky, mid 90s in Chicago. I mean, this is going to be some stark heat, and some spots here across portions of the Upper Plains and the Intermountain West even. Some spots here could be 25 degrees above average for this time of the year. And you notice, again, even above average temperatures across the mid-Atlantic states. Some spots here through the Delmarva Peninsula back up towards New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York. Some of these spots also running a good bit above average by about 10 to 15 degrees. Now, we are about to head into the summer season, as we've been mentioning, as we start off really tonight. But again, tomorrow, the first full day of summer, the average high 91 degrees. We're right at the crux of the top end of our heat. But of course, that's by the averages. Of course, June in the low 90s, lower 90s on July and August. But of course, we know that it can be much hotter than that. And depending on how the summer goes will determine how September goes. Sometimes we've had some very hot Septembers here across the Mid-South, and that comes by way of drought if we end up with a drought situation. But it seems like we have not had a drought situation unfolding over the last couple of months here in the Mid-South. And of course, the overnight low temperature is much warmer. July, typically the warmest part of the entire year. And when you factor in that plus the humidity levels, my goodness, I mean, we're talking about some hot temperatures here the next couple of days. There might be a couple of